Oh, I wish it could be Christmas every day. When the bells start ringing and the band begins to play. Oh. Yeah, that's all you're getting, so I don't get copyrighted. My YouTube suggested is amazing. It's about apparently ethno-nationalism is not the solution, but I'm saying otherwise. Oh yeah. I don't know if any of you are hearing me doing this rant, but okay. Last stream before Christmas. Very exciting stuff. Very exciting times to all those who celebrate. Yes, Master DeRoy, good to see you. You know what? Just because you're here, I'll do Fairy Tale of New York. It was Christmas Eve, babe, in the drunk tank. An old man said to me, what do you think about that? Also, theoretically, should be... It's not just the Epstein files that got released today, it's all of these. Including a cat, which should dance. Cat doesn't seem to be moving. The Chris Bongo doesn't seem to work, but yeah. Christmas Eve's Eve, yeah. And look how much I like you guys. I'm wearing the only vaguely Christmas shirt I own, which was given to me in a Secret Santa years ago. And it says, "Aha, happy Christmas." And it is so bad. This is definitely a Redbubble jobby. I mean, it's lovely. But it's an Alan Partridge t-shirt. Steve Coogan, who is actually pretty pro-Palestine. Is very much anti-Labour in the UK. Kind of interesting hearing his views. I'm sure he's not like as pro-Palestine as some people might hope, but in terms of like comparison to most celebrities, is yeah. The terror attack happening when Israel approved 19 more settlements into Palestine. Coincidence? Israel doesn't need terror attacks to move its settlements. I'll just say you that much. Yeah. Is this your last stream of the year? No, I think you might get one or two after Christmas, but yeah. Who's Tel Aviv Tommy? Tommy Robinson is a far-right influencer. But yeah, happy Xmas to everyone, and anyone else who isn't celebrating and lives in a Western country. Enjoy probably some deserved time off work. Who isn't Christian or doesn't celebrate Christmas. Although Mo Salah celebrates Christmas. And enjoy the Christmas gift from me to you of a beautiful stream and a great chat with Isaac yesterday. I hate that guy. The fact that me and him have been able to hold it together for so long. This isn't even going to go the way of Leftovers, where I'm posting obsessively all those stories. I am just at the brink with Isaac. I'm just going to like physically... No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Of course, none of that's true. I wouldn't do anything of the sort. I love Isaac. I'm going to physically respect him. Respect his integrity and not do anything wrong. That sounds weird. Shouldn't have said that. I was like a bit worried that I was going to get in trouble, but obviously it's a joke. I really like Isaac and I'm really glad. Jingle halal. Yeah, you're not allowed to say that anymore. You and Isaac are so fun. I'm glad to hear. Yeah, to be honest, I'm kind of impressed by how well the podcast's doing. Okay, right. We're going to start with Dream today. It's not a great start. Nothing. Sling, I'm going to go for. Oh my god. Glindy? My Muslims celebrate Christmas. Most of them know Xmas well. That's why it's awkward for them. Most of them don't know Xmas well. My Muslims celebrate. Do you mean your Muslim family celebrate it? Glint. It must be Glint. Glint. It's Glint. Wow. What a Wordle performance. The Mandem celebrate Eid. The trap's still running on Christmas Day. Somebody tell Doja Cat that I'm trying to indulge in that. I'm loving no politic here. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, and also, by the way, enjoy your new emotes whilst you have them, because there is a chance that some of these change over time. But there's a little burger one, which you can use. I'll be using that. which they've disappeared for me. But yeah, enjoy your new emotes. That was actually a really, really good go on this. We'll do the connections now. I feel like they'll be Christmas related. No. Dracula, Frankenstein. No. Oedipus complex. Achilles heel, kryptonite. Those are I feel like these are all these are Freudian concepts. These fixation and superego. I think they're going to say that those are all Freudian concepts. Yeah. No Politic Here is my new favorite podcast. I'm glad to hear. Do we guys care about Epstein? I mean, I think in the UK, the Epstein stuff is slightly different. I certainly care about it because, you know, it's like the biggest conspiracy that's been proven true. And the Trump Epstein stuff today is crazy. So we'll look into it, definitely. Still rule the world with a shit-eating grin. Yeah, 100%. I do. Child murdering, that is completely true. Frankenstein, Dracula, Little Red Riding Hood, Superman, all written by Jewish people? I don't know. Superman, kryptonite. Obviously Little Red Riding Hood was not written by Jewish people. Maybe it's Germans? I don't know. Soft spot, Achilles heel, downfall, and kryptonite. That might be right. Darth Vader, Count Darth Vader, Count Dracula. Hey, Trevor, Trove Tales. Thanks for the gifted. Good to see you as always. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to look into the Iran-Contra. Obviously, it's, you know, it's busy with the time of year and stuff. But yeah, I've seen the summaries. My God, if you're right that these are all people with capes, Little Red Riding Hood, I think it's these. My God, crazy. What a guess. Dogma, Frankenstein. Starting with slang for sausage. Dog, brat, Frank, Link. Oh my God. Yeah, W Terror, Trevor Trove. I'm glad you added plants. Oh shit, I need to turn one of them round though. That's the only thing. Also, these have been knocked. You can see the... it doesn't matter, I don't give a shit. Yeah, but obviously, you know, exciting times ahead. Okay, right. Oh, Tommy Robinson. How do you win Spelling Bee? Well, you can't actually win Spelling Bee. Because you have to pay to win. Like, you have to pay to get up the ranks. I actually don't know how you can... So I'll only be able to get one here, I think. Because... yeah. Idiocy. No, you're allowed to do more. Also... idiotically. Wow, what a good one. Isn't it like spelled like that? It's not spelled that way. The way in which you get the most points is by like getting one that uses all the letters. So something like sorry, excuse me, I was probably really loud. What are you guys thinking of the VODs, by the way? I hope you're still enjoying them. Wait, what? Tommy Robinson has a book. By the way, I posted about this and we're going to talk about it a little bit. Tommy, loads of the influencers in the UAE are writing fake books, which is just insane to me. But yeah, thank you all for watching me and Isaac yesterday, by the way. That was amazing. It was amazing how many of you came over to like a new channel. I'm really struggling with this today. Yeah, that's all I'm allowed to do. I don't really understand how spelling bee works. You have to pay to get anywhere in it. What's a year in games? Oh no, I'm not doing that.
It is utterly ridiculous.
A little something for the spelling bee fund. Thanks, Anna Banan. Thanks for being a great member of the thing this year. A great supporter, a great viewer, a great commenter. But yeah, this is the thing. You're just not allowed to do anything. It's really frustrating. It's like, because the fact that the crossword and the crossword mini have to pay to do it is insane. Like, the mini was brilliant. Yeah, good to see you guys all here for the final stream. Before Xmas, as I put in chat. I should have put before holiday in Keir Starmer's Britain, but yeah. Okay, right, so I'll start off with just a couple of easy things to do. So Greta Thunberg has been arrested in the UK for the grave crime of holding up a sign saying, "I support Palestine action, prisoners, I oppose genocide." By the way, arresting her for this is really shaky ground, because she's not even actually declaring support for Palestine action, technically. She's supporting Palestine action prisoners, and she opposes genocide. She's going floppy. She's going floppy. We got a code floppy. We got a code floppy on Greta Thunberg.
I'll just quickly sort of plug that.
Yeah, I mean, what a waste of police time in a country that's already stretched in terms of its police. I mean, I have no love for the police, but where the police are just total failures, like Greta Thunberg being arrested, but it's such shaky ground.
UK government has...
And once again, anyone who critiques Greta Thunberg, it is actually amazing, because she could have coasted to a very easy life from basically just being like a government-sanctioned activist, you know, speaking up on the climate a bit in a way that was sanctioned. Obviously, this is not to say that a lot of climate activism is allowed. Obviously, we've seen mass arrests of climate activists. But generally, like, she could have just behaved in a certain way that would not have led to all of this. But, of course, she actually stood on business and principle.
Failed miserably in fulfilling their bare minimum legal duties to prevent and stop a genocide from happening. And what has happened here is that civilians have taken on that responsibility to act to end their complicity in genocide and are now being punished. We are criminalizing empathy.
Isopod Palestine Action. Wow, that's an interesting one. I like isopods too. I like that one that's like under the sea and is really old. That one's sick.
So I don't need to express my utter disgust for the UK government and their treatment of this. It is not the first time the UK government are letting political prisoners die in prison. They are on the wrong side of history, and it is crystal clear that they are on the wrong side of history. And we are people all over the world who show our wholehearted support to the hunger strikers and to activists, people all over the world who are raising their voices to end the complicity in the Gaza genocide. I fully stand behind their demands, which is the right to a fair trial, and the censorship on communication, immediate bail, and the prescription of Palestine action, as well as stopping every system's operation in Britain.
Of course, it's not just Elbit either. We have like multiple weapons systems companies in this country.
I'm not going to lie, the audio of this video is kind of annoying me. But yeah, I mean, shout out to Greta for actually being a based individual, unlike, unfortunately, most people in this country. Zach Polanski had a good reaction, because of course he did. Greta Thunberg arrested for holding a sign opposing genocide. When peaceful protest is a crime, democracy is in deep trouble. Happening under a Labour government, 100%. 100%. This. Yeah, you can't support Palestine action in the UK. It's a crime. But shout out to Greta Thunberg. Does not deserve to be arrested. It's utterly ridiculous. And the fact that, you know, you can support the Israeli genocide, like literally support the extermination of human beings, is amazing. There's like a great quote by Zaev Sternhall, who's like an Israeli expert on fascist, who did believe that like the Zionist movement was fascist in many ways. Sternhall was like, the death came to German democracy not on I can't remember the full quote, but it's like what he says is the death of German democracy was when a communist received a longer prison sentence for the same crime that a far right activist received nothing. And he said it in the context of a Jewish boy killing an Arab in Palestine, and getting like 3 months of community service. And like, the fact that you can just walk around the UK talking about how much you love genocide, whilst this is apparently a crime that requires huge amounts of police power and crackdown, is kind of indicative of the dying democracy in this country, that anything that opposes the system is not acceptable, whereas, you know, being an overt racist extremist is kind of just okay. Like, you can walk down the UK streets chanting, Allah, Allah, who the fuck is Allah, which is so obviously a targeted racial discrimination against Muslims specifically, and get away with it. But yeah, in the context of this, you being arrested,
it is utterly ridiculous,
is insane. Hey, Neil Smith, welcome to your 1 month membership. Thanks for becoming a member. Greta Thunberg is just out here getting arrested, and one of you said she couldn't give a fuck if she tried. Look at her face in this fucking pause frame. Where was she arrested? Which company? Aspen Insurance is where she was arrested. Yeah, she is out here aura farming. I caught another Chris stream. Hell yeah, lucky you. Yeah, Zaev Sternhall may have been a bit libbed out on Zionism. I'm not really an expert, but I know that quote. Say what you want about Owen Jones, but the video earlier today detailing how Palestinian life holds no worth to our government in the UK was incredibly moving and upsetting. Was that on YouTube? I've not seen it, but I'm sure that it's, yeah. Also, I just wanted to talk about, Faumois had posted this video. By the way, once again, I am so unsure what this whole Charlie Kirk assassinated by Israel thing was, when yesterday we had Tucker Carlson still there. I thought Israel assassinated Charlie Kirk because he kept inviting Tucker Carlson and was changing Turning Point. They had Tucker Carlson yesterday, like, speaking out against Israel. They had Steve Bannon there.
Mistakes. Transgenderism is a lie from the pit of hell, and I'm sick of seeing transgender violence and murderers in my country. By
the way, just like hearing this kind of stuff is insane. This is just insane.
And what has made me so angry about this moment is that it should have been a unifying moment for us to all say, what a horrid and wretched ideology. Now it's time to kick in doors, right? Come on, FBI, do some door kicking. Round them up. The violent Antifa members, the Trantifa members, it's time, okay? Use this as a moment. That should have been the moment, but we didn't have that moment, sadly, because there was too much tearing at the seams. It's time to focus, ladies and gentlemen, on what's truly ripping the true evils, demonic evils that are ripping this country apart. Yes, this is the ideology that took Charlie from us. And what was the last words that Charlie said on Earth? He was actually answering a question about transgender violence.
God, what a pathetic, pathetic existence. Like, the last thing that Charlie Kirk was talking about was his deranged hatred of others. And he has no legacy. This is all you have for this man, this pathetic legacy of a torn apart movement. And a legacy of bigotry and hatred. You know what? Some people like the Kirkifications bad and stuff. It just shows you how little regard people actually had about this.
God was sending us a message. Let us heed that message.
Jesus Christ as well. I don't know if any of you saw this story. So whilst Palestinians languish in prison for literally without being charged of anything, these 3 settlers sprayed a 9-month pregnant woman, a woman who was 9 months pregnant with, sorry, I will go back to what we were just talking about. They sprayed Mrs. Hanan Abu Shahdeh in Jaffa and called her a stinking Arab. They've been released. One of these guys is banned from the West Bank for attacking Palestinians there, and they've already been released for that crime. No, he was answering a question about trans people. He was. Wait. Where's the Wikipedia page? Here you go. Here's Charlie Kirk. Hunter Kozak, are you blah, 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 blah. Do you know how many transgender Americans have been in mass shooters over the last 10 years? To which Kirk responded, too many. Kozak followed up, do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years? And Kirk's last words were before being shot were, counting or not counting gang violence. To which Kozak replied, great, with Kirk being struck immediately. Kirk was shot in the neck with a single bullet, which investigators believe had come from the roof of the Losey Center. I just saw so much blood come out of the left side and then he went limp. Okay, we don't need to read that. Kind of crazy that Trump announced his death so Tim Pool could just post about how basically Charlie Kirk was, great. But yeah. Fucking settlers. Oh, wait. These guys aren't even settlers, by the way, currently. These guys live in Israel proper because they're banned from the West Bank. They're in Jaffa, terrorizing the communities there. But yeah, I mean, just horrible. Horrible. And Ahmad Tipi is saying they've been released. It is crazy. If you're a Palestinian doctor with no proven allegations against you, get ready for unlimited torture and abuse in Israeli prison. And then if you are a Jewish person who attacks a 9-month pregnant woman on racially motivated grounds, oh baby, time for your freedom. Also, there's a video which is like 10 minutes here on YouTube, which, actually, you know what? I think we should just watch this. I'm sure that the creators wouldn't cry. I'll link it as well. They've got a big-ass channel. Just watch this. This is actually one of the craziest videos I've seen on YouTube.
A few weeks ago, using a commercial search engine, I very easily found the administration interfaces for dozens of flock safety cameras. I shared this information with 404 Media and with John. You're looking Falcon cameras that use. for dozens of flock safety cameras. I shared this information with 404 Media, and with John Gaines' help, that number quickly grew to nearly 70. None of the data or video footage was encrypted. There was no username or password required. These were all completely public-facing for the world to see, and some of them still are. You don't have to be an expert to find and gain access to this. You don't even have to type anything in to see every single person, vehicle, and activity that took place in these locations in the last 31 days. Whether you wanted to watch this footage live in real time or look at footage from a month ago, you could just point and click your way to it like you were watching Netflix. You could even open up the live streams in VLC or cast it to a television. Making any modification to the cameras is illegal, so I didn't do this, but I had the ability to delete any of the video footage or evidence by simply pressing a button. I could see the paths where all of the evidence files were located on the file system.
Do you know what terrifies me about this, though? Like, obviously it's worrying and creepy that you can see this and, like, any random person... I say you because you guys in the chat, you're creeping me out. But isn't it also more worrying that just there's this amount of surveillance? There's a Max Fosh video who's just, like, a guy who, like, did street interviews. And he was like, where I went to university, Exeter, you're caught walking down the high street on hundreds of cameras. This is why I still wear a mask in public. I don't trust none of these motherfuckers. I mean, I don't think... Like, you know, many years ago, that would sound like an insane statement, even though it wasn't then. But I think it obviously is. You know, I remember reading this. In the UAE, they can access, the government of that country can access private cameras of citizens. So they can get on your fucking camera.
And I could see their hashes and signatures. Some of the devices we saw were the familiar-looking Falcon cameras that you see all over the country, but the majority of these were Flock's new Condor cameras, which are designed to detect and track people. They're PTZ cameras, meaning pan, tilt, zoom, and they quite literally use AI to zoom in and follow you around whether you're a person of interest or not. In just the time that it took to count and verify these vulnerabilities, I saw a family in North Carolina load their infant and a bunch of merchandise in a Lowe's parking lot. And I suppose one could cross-reference their license plate with the Park Mobile data breach and find out exactly where the garage is that will store these new fancy tools. I watched a man leave his house.
This is also, by the way, the guy who runs, the guy who along with his son is building one of the biggest media empires in the world has a quote that says, "Modern surveillance state where citizens will be on their best behavior." That's a quote by Larry Ellison. He thinks that there's, he thinks there is already, this is in the US, where they have, like, zoom-in cameras that anyone can access. But also, by the way, the dimension of anyone being able to access is very creepy. However, perhaps the scarier part is that governments will be using this.
In the morning in New York, I watched a woman jogging alone on a forest trail in Georgia. This trail had multiple cameras, and I could watch a man rollerblade and then take a break to watch rollerblading videos on his phone. How? Because the camera's AI automatically zoomed in on it. Just like it zoomed in on a couple arguing at a street market in Atlanta. So what? They're still anonymous, right? No, they're not. Within 2 minutes of open source intelligence using a commercial facial recognition engine, I found out that one of them just finished medical school and the other is dealing with chronic irritable bowel syndrome. The couple also just had a baby last year and they have a pretty concerning debt-to-income ratio. I also know that they drove over 45 minutes from their address in the suburbs to...
It is utterly ridiculous. The more they pass these laws preventing basic free speech, the more these Zs contribute to their own demise. I'm assuming you mean Zionists, but you just didn't want to type it. Zs act like the biggest victim on the planet, yet they are among the most wealthy. I mean, yeah, many Zionists are. Like, many Zionists are just incredibly wealthy individuals. Extremely wealthy individuals. Like, Larry Ellison, you know, is not like a major victim of oppression. He's a billionaire who's going to surveil you and put you on your best behavior for criticizing Israel. And thanks for the $10, and great to see you as always as Coffee Lover. Thank you so much for all your support over the year. So we're watching the Flock camera leak is like Netflix for stalkers, which is just like a video by Ben Jordan and 404 Media.
attend church in Atlanta that morning, and then they checked out this market and bought a sweater. I watched a law enforcement officer and ambulance escort a man having a mental health crisis in Iowa. I know this because the Cedar Rapids Police Department maintains a public database of every single...
I'm chilling in Cedar Rapids!
I'm just chilling in Cedar Rapids.
emergency call in the city, as well as daily arrest reports with individuals' names, addresses, ages, and genders. Listen,
Yeah, it's so funny. Is this the freedom, the Iraq freedom George Bush was talking about the Iraqis dreaming of? Oh, yeah. And it's the freedom and the wonderful developed state that the UAE is going to offer us. They crack down on Islamist extremism. Don't worry, guys. These AI utopia hellholes are what we all need. We all need extremism cracked down on, because all of the years that we've had of extremism being cracked down on has never been used for anything bad. I mean, what the hell's the Patriot Act? What the hell's the surveillance that they do of people? I have never heard shit about that.
know that I'm being creepy right now. Just saying these words out loud nauseates me. But I'm trying to show you just a fraction of the information that anyone in the world with access to a commercial search engine has had regarding anyone who attended this market or walked on this trail in the last 31 days. And it gets worse. Here's an exposed flock safety camera permanently pointed at a playground near the...
I mean, this is incredibly creepy. One thing I will say, though, is that, like, it's becoming increasingly clear that the AI's purpose will just be used for mass surveillance and extermination of human beings. That's its innovation. That's its major success in Western society. How it's used by China when they eventually outflank us is, you know...
Bay Area.
I also, by the way, there are a couple of people who I trust writing about the AI bubble, but I don't know enough about it. I haven't read through their work on the AI bubble.
In California. Openly and publicly broadcasting both live and archived video footage of young children playing unattended. Again, just saying this stuff out loud feels so incredibly wrong. But for me personally, the most impactful moment while validating these vulnerabilities was this. This resonated with me so much that I actually had tears welling up in my eyes. I've done this exact same thing so many times. I've seen a swing set in an empty park, looked around to make sure nobody was watching, and then just enjoyed the mindless motion that connected me to a simpler time.
Bro, this is like a fucking Adam Curtis video. This is really interesting. This is about a leak of cameras in the US. It's called This Flock Camera Leak is like Netflix for stalkers.
But this isn't something that most grown men want to be seen doing. The experience requires one to have a moment that is devoid of judgment. It's healthy escapism at its finest. And I realized that it's likely that this man didn't know that he was being recorded, and he probably wouldn't have done this if he had. This is a classic example of the Hawthorne effect, which is a change in an individual's behavior or choices when they know that they're being observed. Surveillance manufacturers love to talk about this effect when it deters crime. After all, someone isn't as likely to break into a car that's parked near a camera. But what they don't talk about is how it deters escapism. People are less likely to sing or dance or practice an accent or a cartwheel when they know that they're being watched. But escapism is often required for a lot of things. For example, when you learn an instrument or practice a skill for the first time or even practice.
Yeah, I think one of the things that some of you are now mentioning, Adam Curtis, one of the things that we may well do with the podcast is like just talk about Adam Curtis stuff. And don't worry, I've pinned the link. And yeah, there's the link to the donation channels if anyone wants to. Feel free. But yeah, there's and the Discord as well. If anyone's not in it, there's a link to it there. But yeah, someone's watching me constantly. Do you accept that someone's watching you constantly? Because in public, I don't. But maybe I'm like Lacan. Lacan wrote about how he was a public farter. He was a bit of a pervert.
Practicing line delivery for a YouTube video. The footage of the man swinging was powerful to me because it made me realize exactly why I have such a visceral objection to mass surveillance. It imposes on our right to find our own identities without judgment. And as someone whose identity and success is owed to ample amounts of escapism, this is a hill that I am willing to die on. I don't have the luxury to dedicate even more months to yet another flock safety vulnerability, but as you can see, this one is urgent. And frankly, I'm worried that it's already being exploited at the cost of the individuals who are unaware that there are even cameras in these locations. So I got in touch with 404 Media, who has been paramount in this same field of journalism and who's reporting.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. What me and Isaac will probably do is we'll watch things like Adam Curtis and then do like an extra like sort of short episode talking about it where it's less planned and stuff.
Has tremendously helped my research and content.
Together with YouTuber Ben Jordan, we found about 60 flock condor cameras that appear to be streaming directly to the internet without any sort of password, no protection whatsoever. These appear to be condor cameras, and they are designed to track people as they sort of go about their business. And of course, people don't like have any idea that this is happening.
If you're coming into this cold, here's some context. A little over a month ago, I released a video detailing a long list of security vulnerabilities with hardware and services in the flock safety ecosystem. There are over 60 published vulnerabilities, so if that concerns you, check that video out. During and after the process of conducting that research and making that video, I was visited by the police and had what I believe to be private investigators outside my home photographing me and my property and bothering my neighbors. John Gaines, or Gainesec.
Sorry, this guy walking around with a headset is making me laugh. Why has he got that fucking headset on in public?
And my property and bothering my neighbors.
What is that? What is that? Why is he walking around with a fucking gamer headset? The guy's gonna go play Call of Duty Black Ops and be horrible to people in the lobby.
John Gaines, or Gainesec, the brains behind most of this research, lost employment within 48 hours of the video being released. And the sad reality is that I don't view these things as consequences or punishment for researching security vulnerabilities. I view these as consequences and punishment for doing it ethically and transparently. I've been contacted by people on or communicating with civic councils who found my videos concerning, and they shared Flock Safety's response with me. The company claimed that the devices in my video did not reflect the security standards of the ones being publicly deployed. The CEO even posted on LinkedIn and boasted about Flock Safety's security policies. So I formally and publicly offered to personally fund security research into Flock Safety's deployed ecosystem. But the law prevents me from touching their live devices, so all I needed was their permission so I wouldn't get arrested, and I was even willing to let them supervise this research. I got no response. But now, since the general public has access to live video feeds from search engines, let's just save the back and forth, and I'll literally read you Flock Safety's response to IPVM about their security from a brand new Flock Safety camera that's publicly deployed. Might as well, it's my tax dollars that paid for it. Flock is committed to continuously improving security. The devices in this YouTube video were not connected to the cloud, and to the best of our knowledge, not customer installed, so the security is akin to factory setting. It's like looking at an iPhone stolen off.
God forbid a man keep up with his Discord kitten. Yeah, I'm getting surveilled in public because I got my full-on headset on, talking to my kittens on Discord, aka Henry.
Off a truck before it was ever.
On the street and Harris Road, also in Bakersfield, which is about 15 minutes from the other spot. So I'm going to go walk up to that now. You can actually see it.
So there, if your city or county or place of business or whatever feels satisfied by the company's reassurances, show them that. Many of the feeds that you've seen in this video were relatively easy to find and completely accessible at the time Flock Safety was telling cities that the devices are secure after they're deployed. And if you are in touch with your county or city council, keep a record of your correspondence with them. Let them know and fully realize that if someone gets stalked, robbed, harassed, or abducted as a result of a reported security vulnerability by a third-party surveillance vendor, they'll be on record for having known about it and approving it anyway, and they can explain that to their voters and constituents. I've said this before, and I'm sure I'll say it again. The underlying problem is not Flock Safety. The problem is cities wanting a cloud-connected, AI-enhanced mass surveillance system, but are too lazy to conduct their own security audit or research the efficacy versus risk. And
I mean, to be honest, I think the major issue is that any of this exists.
Very much is an industry-wide problem. For example, other vendors in
Yeah, I've heard Bakersfield is not a very nice place. It's in California, right?
This industry have used my last video to shame flock safety on social media, being completely unaware that I had broken their own AI model before ever even having access to a flock device. And I need to make it very clear that I am not the first and only person to find out about all of these enormous vulnerabilities. I'm just apparently the first.
It's kind of crazy that there's also definitely some weirdos online who are like just perving and collecting information. Like, if this guy's doing it in a YouTube video, yeah, who else has been using this?
Person stupid enough to walk the expensive legal tightrope of making them public on a large platform. But I also have tremendously cool and impactful projects lined up for this channel that have taken a backseat due to the urgency of this. I want to go back to
the UK probably is, just because of the size of the country not being very big, that it probably is one of the most surveilled places in the entire fucking world, and it hasn't done anything to solve the amount of crimes that happen here.
To storing data in birds and inventing microphones to record volcanoes. But I'm happy to contribute to and stay active in the growing community of people standing up to this. If you don't subscribe to 404 Media's content and journalism, I highly recommend doing so. And if you're not already familiar with Louis Rossmann, then go check out his channel and work relating to this, because it's hugely impactful and something that you can get involved in. Having seen and heard these Condor cameras in person, I can tell you that they are so much more dystopian and problematic than license plate cameras. And I wish that I had some sort of advice for people other than stay out of public. But some of them are literally pointed at people's private property. But in the meantime, I just ask that you don't lay down and accept the infiltration of your expectations of privacy. You need privacy to build your identity and refine the things that make you authentic.
Yeah, so this is Ben Jordan. I'll put a link in. It's just kind of crazy. And I totally agree with you. I like how he's like, this is just an industry-wide problem instead of just a horrifying concept without an evil way of being implemented. 100%. 100%. There is no normal way to implement any of this. Okay, there's one final, like, ambiguous video that I wanted to talk about, which is... Once again, there is like a load of this shit going on with these fucking like fake anti-Zionists who are doing the worst shit imaginable, which is Matt Gaetz is now being allowed to... one of my videos the other day was prevented from being monetized, and it didn't mention anything. That's weird. Oh, it's fucking Nas Daily. Nas Daily has prevented me from monetizing my thing. Nas Daily, you can't even watch Nas Daily's videos anymore, apparently, because, you know, you're not allowed to criticize Nas Daily. Nas Daily is taking my small amount of ad revenue from that video. Fuck you, Nas Daily. Yeah. But yeah, here's this guy laundering his image by claiming that Israel forced him to meet up with young girls.
An opt to silence me, and Israel was involved. And I hate to say that. I was shocked to learn it. But there was a consulate official.
Okay, this is amazing. So this is the charge that you were like trafficking underage girls.
Absurd. And
I don't even know what the charge was, but that was the headline. Matt Gaetz traffics underage women. It's like, oh my gosh, can't talk to Matt Gaetz anymore.
Well, for us, the shocking moment was when my father, who's a prominent person in our community, got outreach from someone he had never met that said that there were pictures and images of me with underage prostitutes, and my dad needed to meet with these people right away. And so my dad...
Like, I'm sorry, does this really sound that outrageous? There are so many people who have put out allegations against him, but, you know... of course, these people are just using Israel to get away with their crimes.
Somewhat surprised and concerned, goes and talks to these people and says, what in the world are you talking about? And they said, well, Mr. Gaetz, we need $25 million from you to go and rescue a spy that is being held in Iran. And if you do that, we can make these things about your son go away, which was crazy and wild.
What a story to make up. Israel needs $25 million to rescue a spy in Iran. What? Israel would just kill everyone. They would kill the spy in Iran. Like, I'm sorry, like, if Israel actually had a spy that was captured in Iran, they'd kill him.
We did what any reasonable people would do. We went to the FBI and said that we were being extorted by these folks with their false claims. And we later learned that this consulate official working for the Israeli government was sending text messages to Scott Adams, of all people, the Dilbert cartoonist, saying they were expecting my father to furnish this $25 million payment, and that would be evidence of my consciousness of guilt.
For the American FBI agent grabbed on an Iranian island maybe 18 or 19 years ago.
And I don't know anything about this person. I don't know if the person's dead or alive, but it was troubling and concerning to me that someone who was getting paid by the Israeli government was involved in a criminal shakedown of a U.S. congressman. And someone went to jail for this. The person who conveyed this message to my father pled guilty to the attempted fraud. And surprisingly, there was never really an effort to figure out what the government of Israel's involvement was in this.
Okay, yeah. That's what happened, isn't it? She was 17 and a high school junior in Florida. She was working at McDonald's and she was living in and out of a homeless shelter, hoping to save up to buy braces to fix her teeth. She falsely advertised herself as 18 years old on a website that matches men looking for companionship with young women looking to make money. What followed would set off a chain of events that would have a dramatic impact on her life and help upend the political career of one of the men she would encounter, Representative Matt Gaetz. Yeah, Israel set this up, I'm sure. Mr. Gaetz was investigated by the Justice Department for child sex trafficking, but never charged. Following the election last year, he was President Trump's first choice to serve as Attorney General. He subsequently resigned from Congress and then withdrew from considerations as Attorney General under a storm of scrutiny. Really like a pro-Palestine individual. A bipartisan House of Ethics Committee investigation later determined that there was substantial evidence that he had sex with a 17-year-old, and the report included testimony from the girl about how she was paid by Mr. Gaetz for sex. For all the public furor over Mr. Gaetz, who always asserted that he broke no laws, even as the House Ethics Committee found that he violated Florida's statutory rape laws, little attention has been given to the story of the girl, how she came to be exploited, and how she has coped with what happened to her and the ensuing political scandal. You can just keep reading down here. Chris, do you know Berlusconi forced the parliament to vote that an underage prostitute was a relative of President Mubarak and lied about being 18? No, I've never heard that story, but Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. And yeah, definitely. I mean, you can read through the story if you want. I'll link it. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. But it's just insane. Like, this is the new Republican grift. Pretending that Israel did this to you. Yeah, really unbelievable that you did this, Matt Gaetz. No, this was actually Israel trying to get money to save a spy.
This matter.
But you know that the government of Israel was involved because this was an Israeli government official who was involved in this?
Yes, a person who, his name's Jake Novak. I think he currently works for Real America's Voice, and he sent text.
Jake Novak is in the guy who was like, I want to be the next SNL cast member. Oh, wait.
I want to be the next SNL cast member, and here's why I should be a contender. Hi, Lorne Michaels.
Sorry for laughing. I know that guy really had like a lot of trouble with the backlash. But
wait,
messages.
what?
Yeah. That's the name of the official, and he sent messages to Scott Adams saying that he was involved in this scheme that was later deemed a criminal scheme to shake down my family.
So what
based on
happened
these
to
false
him?
allegations? He got a
where was this deemed a criminal scheme? Because I've seen no decent reporting on this.
television show.
Come on now. I didn't know any of this. I'm not playing dumb. I really didn't know that. Have you ever talked to him about it?
I have attempted to figure out, because obviously I still have a lot of unanswered questions about why he was working for a foreign government and trying to shake down my family.
Well, what's the answer, do you think?
By the way, why would Trump, like, I know Trump likes Israel, but to just point out, to have one guy to be like, oh, look, this guy did all of these bad things, and this guy is the problem, and blah, 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 I get Matt Gaetz back. What, they wouldn't do that?
Well, some have shared with me their concern that this was a consequence of some of the votes and positions I took in the Congress. I represented one of the most military-heavy districts in the entire country.
I think number one.
Yeah, right up there. And I saw these wars in the Middle East that my neighbors and friends had fought in as unworthy of our best, unworthy of the disruptions in parenting and the divorces and the injuries,
suicides. Yeah.
And so I took the position that we should be less entangled in these things, and I think that really shocked a number of people who thought I would be more of a neocon coming from the district I came from.
The only thing, I mean, I'm seeing this here. So Matt Gaetz voted against the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism being adopted. But the reason he wrote against it was because the bill says the definition of anti-Semitism includes contemporary examples of anti-Semitism identified by the IHRA. One of those examples include claims of the Jews killing Jesus. The Bible is clear. There is no myth or controversy in this. Therefore, I will not support this bill. Amazing. I don't know much about his record on Israel, but like honestly, doubting that this guy is Like, apparently, in 2017, then Congress member Matt Gaetz spoke on the floor, blah, 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 to introduce a resolution condemning the UN for ostensible anti-Israel bias. I rise today to support our friend and ally, Israel. The representative from Florida announced, claiming that the UN was trying to rewrite history to condemn Israel and call it an occupying power in Jerusalem. Gaetz slammed the international body's anti-Semitism and attempts to punish and delegitimize Israel. But yeah, doesn't it feel like Israel's seduction of U.S. foreign policy is some kind of mad regime change mad lib? He asked on June 2015, June 16th, 2025. I'm really struggling with the reading. Aired on the far-right One America News network. So he's clearly changed his positions on Israel. But part of me also thinks that that's probably in part like an effect of being ostracized from the mainstream the mainstream Republican movement, that his response is just to become anti-Israel. Anyway, right, we're going to move on to Tommy Robinson in the UAE. Now, I've mentioned Tommy Robinson before. If you don't know who Tommy Robinson is, lucky you. But Tommy Robinson is a far-right grifter in the UK. Like, that's what he is. He's a far-right grifter in the UK. And he's currently in the UAE for his amazing trip to do propaganda for the UAE. But let's watch his confrontation with a boxer.
This is Joe Pugh for IFL TV. We're out here in Dubai ahead of Andrew Tate versus Chase Damore. Delighted to be joined by Mr. Tommy Robinson, a face I wasn't expecting to see here today.
I know, everyone looks at me like I'm walking through the airport and that. Yeah, I've come here. I've got my children with me. They love Misfits, they always have, so I was given...
Don't interview him. He's a racist prick. Why are you giving him airtime for?
They are interviewing me.
Why are you giving him airtime?
They are interviewing me.
Racist rat.
They are interviewing me.
He's a racist prick. He's a racist rat.
Fuck him. He hates Muslims, but he's in a Muslim country. Where that one at?
They are
He's a fucking prick. Don't give him
He hates Muslims, but he's in a Muslim country.
Mate, you hate Muslims like us. Why are you in this country? You hate Muslims.
I'm here under invite, actually.
You hate Muslims, so why are you in a Muslim country for?
It's actually crazy that the UAE government is inviting Tommy Robinson to the country. I mean, it isn't actually surprising when you like understand what the UAE is like, which this guy maybe doesn't, but still, this is such a funny interaction.
You're a little rat. Yeah, good one. Uneducated little rat. You're uneducated. You're uneducated. Prick. Get the fuck out of here. You're not wanted around here. Fuck off, you mug. Let me finish my thing.
Also, look at him getting big to this guy. Wouldn't stand a single chance.
Finish my interview. This interview. Finish my interview. He's a fucking idiot. No point in no interview. Don't give him no time. The racist rat bastard.
Racist rat bastard.
He hates Muslims, but he's in a Muslim country. Where that one at? How the fuck does that work?
Do you know how many Muslims I know? I'm mates with.
I don't like terrorism. I don't like jihadists. Neither do Muslims.
So stand up against me.
I do stand up against them. Yeah, I do. Why don't you stand up against the grooming gangs that are white? I've only ever seen you stand up against. I'm from Derby, England. Yeah. I only see you stand up against the Muslims. I stand up. What do you mean? What am I doing here? I'm a professional. I fight for misfits. I'm a misfits fighter. What are you doing here? I'll go against anything that's against Islam.
Okay. So
Raping's against Islam. Grooming gangs are against Islam.
I'm here under the invite of Emiratis, who I'm meeting tomorrow to discuss terrorist organisations in the UK. So that's got.
It's actually mental that Tommy Robinson is meeting to discuss, you know, these terrorist organisations in the UK. It genuinely is mental. And someone also, by the way, I'll just pull this up now because it's funny. Look how he's dressed. Tommy Robinson just likes designer clothes, and obviously he's such a funny grifter, by the way. Like, he basically just robs his own ridiculous fans who support him. Ty Mitchell is the other guy, the boxer. But this tweet by Mukhtar's funny. He went straight to Twitter to check if the L he took has gone viral. Like, he looks like such a clown here. But, like, yeah, Tommy Robinson being in the UAE is so indicative of what this country is. By the way, the propaganda coming out of this country is insane. And it is dangerous to Muslims. It is dangerous to non-white people in Western society. And it is dangerous for Middle Eastern people.
But not that it's got fuck all
white
to do
ones
with
or
you.
just Asian ones?
I'm here to meet Emirati Muslims who work, Muslims from here, the United Arab Emirates, who work against
the problem is,
against the
let me
Muslim
tell you the issue I've got with you. The issue I've got with you is I'm not bothered. No, but I've watched your stuff, and the issue I've got is you're only against Muslims. Why when a white person does something, you don't post it?
What have I said that you disagree with? What have I said?
No, I'll tell you what I disagree. You only push a narrative against Muslims.
Give me what I've said.
I'm telling you, you're saying you only push a narrative against Muslims.
Tell me what I've said.
Why do you not? Why do you not go against all the white people that do it and all the Christians?
Shall I tell you?
In your Bible it says that if a woman doesn't pray when she shave her hair off, you don't put that out there, do you?
Let me tell you.
Go on then.
By the way, here are some, I don't even know if I want to show these on stream because they're very bad. But they're just things like calling Mohammed a paedophile, just saying like really disrespectful stuff. And by the way, these are all really recent as well. It's nothing like old. Like he's a racist piece of shit. Like, Tommy Robinson is a disinformation, pro-Israel grifter who does nothing positive in the world apart from sow hatred and bigotry against Muslims and marginalised people.
90% of the men convicted for raping young kids in gangs, 90% are Muslims.
Most of the nonsense look like you, though.
That's not my fault.
Most of the...
Like, also, by the way, that statistic is definitely made up. He's also... Tommy Robinson is on a really, really funny campaign because he's now paid by the UAE. I want to show you what he's been commenting on recently. We'll continue watching the interview. But it is very strange that the Western powers are trying to do in the Middle East. Instead of combating terrorism, which has begun to strike our Western societies and people severely, they do not lift a finger in fighting terrorism there. In fact, they do not even want to support the local forces, southern state in Yemen, that are fighting terrorism in the Middle East. The southern state in Yemen is ruled entirely by a proxy. They are not interested in any capacity in fighting terrorism or extremism. They are interested in separating off southern Yemen to create a pro-Israel state. This is such a pro-Israel, pro-West state. This is such a bizarre thing for Tommy Robinson to be tweeting about. Like, this can't even be that appealing to his followers. It's not. It has 2.3 thousand likes. I want you to look at the cases of people who want to liberate themselves from terrorism, of Al-Qaeda and the Houthis in Yemen. These people want independence, self-determination by establishing the state in South Yemen. Why not? These emerging political and military forces are combating the extremists and radicals there. And these radicals will come to us one day. By the way, this is literally verbatim a repeat of the UAE government's propaganda. So now it seems that not only is Tommy Robinson receiving full paid trips to go do Israeli propaganda better, he's now in the UAE doing full paid up trips. The UAE is, by the way, fully collaborating with the far right in Western society, spreading lies and hatred so it can push its ultra-violent politics all around the world. Like, they have killed so many people. This could also be ChatGPT written. Or it's written by an Emirati influencer who's teaching him how to write. If we do not cooperate with the local residents in combating them, we conclude that these people in southern Yemen are defending human civilization before they defend their right to political independence from the governments and radical regimes that control those countries. This is not at all written by Tommy Robinson. Like, this is not a Tommy Robinson tweet.
The nonsense look like you.
I'm giving you a fact. I'm giving you a fact. The majority of nonsense are white. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, well then, so why don't you? I don't see you pointing that shit out.
Because it's a majority white nation.
You've got an issue. You come out there. I know. I've seen you on the news with the fucking Quran saying that you're against this book. What against the Quran are you against?
Reading things out.
Yeah. Out of context. Anyone can do that out of context. I can read the Bible out of context.
Okay.
And the Bible's far worse out of context than the Quran.
Rather than argue with me, go argue with ISIS, go argue with Boko Haram, go argue with Al Qaeda.
Boko Haram?
Why don't you go argue with all the paedophiles in the churches?
Okay.
Why don't you go?
Do you believe in free speech?
Yeah.
How about you
so
fuck off and let me
why
finish my interview then?
Why is your free speech only against Muslims?
I'm not talking about Muslims.
No,
you're okay,
no, I'm on about that's what you're known for.
Because I've got an opinion.
You're a racist,
I'm allowed my
little
opinion.
prick and I want you around here.
What's racist got to do?
Fuck off.
What's racist got to do?
Come back to where you come from.
Yeah,
No.
what are you doing? Who are you pushing?
No.
Who are you pushing, you fucking fanny?
No,
I mean, who are you pushing?
I'm just doing an interview now.
Lucky, do I look like I give a fuck about you? Do I look like I give a fuck? Do I look like I give a fuck about you? Do I look like I give a fuck about you, you fanny? Do I look like I give a fuck? Do I look like I give a fuck, you frag? Do I look like I care?
Bro, he looks so rattled.
Go fuck off. Wait, now we finish our interview. I told you we'd finish our interview.
Right, we will get into this. Boxing talk only.
Boxing talk, yeah?
Right, because you have come to see Andrew Tate versus Chase the Moor, Tommy. Your kids, big fans of Misfits.
Big fans of Misfits. I've come to watch Misfits. Obviously. Who's that fanny anyway?
That's Ty Mitchell.
Ty
just
Mitchell.
come up to you.
Fanny, what's he, a professional boxer?
He is a professional boxer, yeah.
Fanny. Who gives a shit anyway? I don't. I've got my opinion. I'll stand by my opinion. I'm right in what I say. Just for the record, I don't hate Muslims. I've made this point so many times.
By the way, it's really interesting because this is a narrative that's emerged out of the UAE that they must think there's a lot of political capital in because they're now imparting it to people like Tommy Robinson to sanitize their image. Now, the UAE specifically has always had a problem with demonizing Islam because the UAE is still an Islamic country. One of the 7 principles that it seeks to impart on its children are like Islamic values, right? It literally does that. But the UAE has an ultra hyper focus on the Muslim Brotherhood, an organization that barely existed there. And it is not because the Muslim Brotherhood are extreme. It is actually because the vast majority of Muslim Brotherhood outlets have moderated and are interested in democratic reform. They despise them because during the Arab Spring, the Muslim Brotherhood were rather successful. Now, for most Middle Eastern leftists and for many people, they still don't like the Muslim Brotherhood because it's conservative and didn't address the issues of, like, in Egypt. Morsi didn't address the issues of everyone there, but it was still only 1 year that he got. The UAE took away democracy from Egypt, but this guy, like how Tommy Robinson actually doesn't really talk about race as much. What Tommy Robinson does is welcome a broader base of racists in Western society, including the small minority of non-white racists. But yeah. Also, I'm hoping that we can get like the expert on this. The expert who's like an expert on this is Andrew Tate on the Emirati payroll. I mean, Andrew Tate is, I don't even know what Andrew Tate is saying, but he has nowhere near the motion that Tommy Robinson has.
I have loads of Muslim friends who I have lots of love with that I've been brought up with, but there's a problem and someone needs to talk about it. Unfortunately, I've took that handle and I talk about it, and because I talk about it, you get dickheads like this. Wherever I go, everywhere I go. But I still go there. A lot of people say to me, why have you gone here? Why are you in Dubai? Because I go where the fuck I want, yeah? In all honesty. Because I'm right.
You don't go wherever you want. You go where you get paid to go.
I'm right. And I am actually meeting Emiratis here who work tirelessly against jihad, against Muslim Brotherhood, against terrorist organisations. There's no terrorism here.
This is all these people talk about, and I cannot wait until the day that more people start understanding this, and they will. This propaganda is not going to sell. This whole Muslim Brotherhood are the problem in the Middle East. Lie after lie after lie. I understand, like, a person from the Middle East who may not like them, and they were not perfect Democrats, like, undeniably, but they are so much more democratic than a racist, a genocidal state like the United Arab Emirates.
Do you know why? Because they know how to tackle it and deal with it. Not like Britain. They don't allow them to run out of control.
This is like, straight up, this is Tommy Robinson parroting the UAE government racist the UAE government's narrative. This is the UK's most prominent racist far-right figure talking verbatim like the UAE.
Tommy, I'm not educated enough, unfortunately, to ask you about this, but I am educated enough to ask you about Andrew Tate, Chase the Moor, about 24 hours' time. Are you backing, Tommy?
Who do you think I'm backing?
Luton boy?
I'm a Luton boy, man. I'm a Luton boy. I'm a Luton boy. Tate's a Muslim. He's my mate, all right? He's messing me up.
It's also amazing that there are genuinely, like, all Tommy Robinson's profile is now is like tweeting. He runs a series called the R word of Britain, right? This is like what he posts about regularly. The problem is Andrew Tate is alleged to have sexually abused a child. Like, beaten a child for threatening to speak out against what he had done, right? This is something that the child was gonna do. He has undeniably been involved in sex trafficking. And this is the guy who some people look to as like a great voice on women's rights in the UK. It is the biggest joke going. He maintains a friendship with Andrew Tate and goes, well, Tate's a Muslim. Is Andrew Tate even still doing the Muslim gimmick? Is that something he's doing? Do you remember when Andrew Tate was like posting about Palestine for a short period when the tides were changing?
Yes, eh? It's like, come on, bro. Sorry, Mitchell, you bug.
You've known Andrew for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, I've known Andrew before he was top G, before any of that, yeah.
Good guy. He seems a cool guy around this week.
Mate, he was a good guy. There's no one that has a bad word to say about him before.
No one who has a bad word to say about him. Listen to this whole faux world of tolerance and progressiveness that these people pretend exists in their world.
Before you become famous, once you become famous, everyone hates you. Basically, that's the reality. Especially in Britain. Britain's a country full of people who hate. So regardless of whatever allegations are against him, people hate to see someone do well.
Would you like to fight on Misfits, Tommy? There's been, I don't want to call them rumours, but slight...
Oh my God, Tommy Robinson's entire profile is like dedicated to Islamophobia, and I knew that would be there anyway, but it is literally, like, I challenge you, I'm not going to do it because there's some stuff I definitely couldn't show on stream, but it is literally just dedicated to sharing UAE accounts. This guy is like bought and paid for most likely by the UAE. I'm alleging it. I don't know 100%, but...
Whispers around this week that you may or may not be on a Misfits card in the future.
Is there, fighting who? What rumours you heard?
I heard that they might be interested on you being on a card. I haven't heard the opponent.
News to me, mate. News to me. Yeah.
Would you like to?
I haven't come here for that. Okay. Yeah? So I've come here because I've been given tickets. I've arranged to meet, as I said, some Emiratis out here to discuss problems in the UK. And I've had the opportunity to bring my children out to an event like this. Although my children just had to watch that fucking prick. But at the same time...
God, he is so rattled.
Yeah. At the same time, I'm happy to be here. And would I fight someone? I don't mind a challenge, bruv. I think that anyone... I've never got in the ring. I've never boxed. I know I've never boxed in my life. I've never got in the ring, but yeah, I'd get in the ring. I would.
probably because it gives you something to focus on in life. I think everyone needs a challenge.
By the way, it's also really funny that, like, all of the things that Tommy Robinson claims to hate about, like, Islam, like, you know, sexual violence and depravity, Tate is literally, like, a guy who's, like, a fake Muslim doing that. But, of course, he can't call him out because he's not really a Muslim, and he knows that. Tate is not living his life under any Islamic principles. He's just a grifter.
Any names in particular that you wouldn't mind fighting on this scene?
The people I want to fight.
In the misfit scene,
Fucking if Ty Mitchell weren't a boxer, I'd fight him. And if he weren't 2 foot taller.
Well, listen, Tommy, thank you very much, mate. Enjoy Dubai with your kids, and yeah.
So funny. Also that he frames himself as like this anti-establishment figure. Tommy should fight the person that dressed him. Yeah, Tommy 10 name should be. So here's, I tried to find out what video this was from, but here's Tommy Robinson's speech on what he's doing. Why am I in Dubai? Multiple reasons, actually. I'm in Dubai because I was given an opportunity to take my children here. But not just that. I've been working on a piece and researching a piece about Qatar and the Muslim Brotherhood. And in my research, because Qatar are behind everything. Every terrorist group in the world pretty much comes out of Qatar, funded by Qatar, supported by Qatar. And as I started going down the Muslim Brotherhood rabbit hole, I started finding out that many of the voices and people who have combated it are from the UAE. And I reached out to a few of them to discuss what knowledge they have. There's so much, yeah. What the mosques are operated in London by the Muslim Brotherhood, where their offices are. All these sorts of things. As I've been looking at it all, yeah. So as I'm here, I've got quite a few meetings this week with people, Emiratis, who actively seek. You may have heard of them. Many of them have recently, and understand why there's no terrorism or jihad, or extremist groups or organisations in the UAE. You know, also, by the way, the UAE, through the Hawala, Dubai's informal money lending system, what beef does the UAE have with Qatar? During the Arab Spring, Qatar was way closer with, like, the Muslim Brotherhood, basically. That's what the UAE is basically. Their contention with Qatar is, and Qatar generally has been closer with Turkey, whereas on the UAE side they're much closer with Saudi Arabia, sorry. And there's a big split around the Gulf. You can read into the Qatar crisis in 2017 if you want to learn more, because they're all in London, they're all in our countries, because these lot here know how to deal with them. So I'd like to know what I'm talking about. So I've come here on a fact-finding mission again. I probably won't get the same accusations like I did when I went to Israel, but also because I got tickets for my children to watch an event here, which they wanted to do. And I've got a freebie holiday with my kids just for Christmas. Who wouldn't, in all honesty? Some people say, stupid move. What are you going there for? It's a Muslim nation. Maybe it was. You know what I mean? I'd like to go where I want. I wanted to go to Dubai. I wanted to meet the Emirati lads. The Emirati lads! I wanted to meet these Emirati lads. And then I got another message of a gentleman. I'm walking into this office building to meet now, who I believe is actually Jewish. I believe he is. Sunil is his name. So I'm going in now to do an interview because he said, you're in Dubai. And he's been trying to pin me down for an interview for a little while. He said, I'm in Dubai, mate. So I'm going to do an interview now whilst I'm here. So by the way, funny that Tommy Robinson confirms he got an all expenses paid for trip in the UAE. Who's paying for that, bro? Because if the UAE had a problem with Islamophobes, they wouldn't allow that to happen. But he is, I guess what we've discovered is he's hanging out with the Emirati lads. Yeah, and Sunil does not sound like a Jewish name, but maybe he's B'nai Menashe. But let's see, this is a propagandist who Tommy Robinson loves.
Protesters right now protesting in London, free Palestine. I am the person who wants to free Palestine. Because I speak. I'm from the Middle East. I do the action. I do everything for peace.
This guy is literally one of the biggest grifters and one of the most repugnant individuals imaginable.
You don't. You protest in the street because you don't know.
Hey, can you protest in your country? Can you do a protest? If I come to Dubai and I do a protest, can I do that? What will happen with the Emirati lads if I do a protest in Dubai? What will happen? Like, I think it's kind of okay that, you know, we're still allowed some semblance of protest in the United Kingdom. I think that that's all right, you know. Britain, really. Maybe not the UK. But in Britain, you know, we still have some semblance of freedom of speech and stuff. If I come over to your dictatorial hellhole, can I do a protest over there?
Full idiot used by those leftist groups and armies and so on in London, in France, in Canada, in Australia. How do I know that? Because he never wrote one word, one comment. 80,000 Sudanese children and women massacred.
By the way, this is one of the most grotesque things, because at least with the pro-Israel people, they're like, oh, you know, we're in Gaza, they'll continually justify it. This guy literally exploits the massacre of Sudanese people to sell to stupid people, whilst his country is the country that is literally entirely responsible for this. They destabilized the country along with Saudi Arabia. They supported the previous dictator there, Omar al-Bashir, who, by the way, did have links to the Muslim Brotherhood. And now, because they've chosen Hemedti, the leader of the RSF, like, they're just doing this. By the way, this is probably this is also probably a Sudanese guy that they've dragged up who supports the RSF. I don't know though.
Genocide killed by the Muslim Brotherhood-led army in Sudan. The Port Sudan Authority. What did the UN do? Absolutely nothing. What did they say? Oh, stop it. Don't do it.
I like that. Stop it. Don't do it. He sounds like fucking Statlet's Flats.
As if you're talking to children.
By the way, yeah, but your country is the one backing them. Like, your country, this guy's country is so despicable. And, like, don't get me wrong, this is actually a tactic that I learnt about. The UK sent what they were called, like, humanitarian peace convoys over to during... oh, fuck. The UK have done this. Sorry, I've forgotten the context of what I was going to say there. Ethan's basement. When you hear this, edit that out. But yeah, sorry, now we have Tommy Robinson's. Tommy Robinson looks insane here. Like, look at this pause frame. Wait, can you see this fully? This guy looks crazy. What the fuck is going on here with this guy? What is this? What is this? Why does he look like this? I know it's a pause frame and people look crazy on pause frames, but it's not just that. Why does he look like this? He looks like a tomato. He loves Israel. He's turned into a cherry tomato. I've turned into a cherry tomato to show more respect for Israel. Yeah, there's a bit of a difference between the people liking it.
And I've said, stop the car. And we stopped the car and walked over in the middle of this field. Right? There's lads with Kalashnikovs, machine guns. Yeah. And I'm walking in, and Trump had just been elected. And we're walking thinking, what's going to happen here? Yeah? No one batted an eyelid. And then as I'm leaving, there's Jews sitting having a picnic. So there's 1,000 young Muslim men. And there's Jews having a picnic. And no one's batting an eyelid. I thought, if there was 1,000 young Muslim men in an East London park, and there were visible Jews sitting having a picnic, they're getting it.
So the suggestion then would be there is something about political Islamism that we're seeing in Britain and Europe, but there is other kinds of Islam.
It is amazing how easy it is to be, like, literally one of the lowest IQ grifters in the world, to talk about stuff that you have not even the most basic conception of, and just get your information from Tommy Robinson, and hundreds of thousands of people watch that.
Islam that can exist in the modern world. We're starting to see bits of that in Qatar, Saudi Arabia. And
yeah, but looking at Qatar, Saudi Arabia, I think the king's taking it in the right direction. But to
I think it was the right direction when he killed Jamal Khashoggi.
Compared to Qatar, Qatar spent £750 million, £750 million, Islamising Europe. They funded the ghettos in France. They've just done another 10 billion for some bullshit. It's all money. They've just declared 10 billion.
And the UAE is spending bullshit giving you and your family full paid trips so you can meet their idiot disinfluencers.
They fund the extremist Salafists.
That's right, yeah.
They fund the problem.
That's right, yeah. That's right, yeah. Bro, I wish this was my job. Imagine this. Waking up every day, not knowing anything about anything, and just being treated as like somehow like a decent voice. I wish I had the audacity to talk about this.
And they create the problem.
The UAE then, Dubai.
The UAE have
Dubai and all that.
UAE have a stance on radical jihadist mindsets, and they ban them. So,
how do you ban a radical jihadist mindset?
His butt to here, who are prescribed in the United Arab Emirates, are in every university in Britain. Yeah?
So that's a type of Islam that is existing currently in the United Arab Emirates.
But I wouldn't say that's Islam. I'd say the United Arab Emirates is a business, and they know that the future of their business relies on British and Western tourism. They're becoming a tourist destination, and they know that if that's the only future they've got. And also, they understand...
Guys, this is why we have to work unequivocally to delegitimize the UAE. Make going on holiday to the UAE like going to apartheid South Africa.
That you can't allow this. Now, the difference with Britain is, if you go back to the 80s and 70s, because we wanted a Mujahideen strong force to fight the Russians in Afghanistan.
Mujahideen! Wow!
And we gave base to many of these groups. We allowed them to be in London. The Muslim Brotherhood, they've got offices. So the terrorists...
By the way, the Muslim Brotherhood were not involved in the Afghan jihad, I don't believe. The vast majority of the Muslim Brotherhood went over... the vast majority of, fighters were from Saudi Arabia who were going over to fight in the Afghan jihad.
Groups that are banned in all the Islamic countries have got offices in our country. You can make it up. And then we're now reaping the...
By the way, the Muslim Brotherhood are only banned in dictatorial hellholes.
We're now reaping the problems from allowing 20 to 30 years of this radical jihadist mindset.
Oh my God. I am not even joking. I am not exaggerating one bit. This is categorically the narrative of the UAE government. This guy is just straight up a UAE puppet now. Wow. That's kind of amazing.
We don't try and stop it. We're not stopping the funding. We're not stopping the extremist preachers coming in from Saudi, coming in from Pakistan. Literally one day they're in a cave in Afghanistan.
Oh, the stinky put on Pakistan there. Oh.
And talking shit about jihad. And the next day they're in a mosque in Luton.
As a political activist, what would you say is your biggest weakness?
My biggest weakness?
I think the sniff kind of gave it away.
Probably I'm impulsive, very impulsive. Is it a weakness? I shoot from the heart, and if I think I'm right, which I am right, I'm not going to back down.
Do you think that the Tommy Robinson sort of symbol or the aura around you that has led to, say, Nigel Farage to distance himself from you, could that be made better?
Yeah, I'm not watching any more of this. These people are some of the largest idiots in the world. But yeah, he loves Amjad Taha as well.
Speech to censor.
This guy, this Amjad Taha guy is fucking hilarious.
They use the freedom of speech to censor your right to speak against them. And when they use the terminology Islamophobia, it's just to stop you from criticizing the Islamist and the Muslim Brotherhood.
I really love when you get your advice about how to run, free countries with free speech and like your anti-big government, as GB News purports to be, that your advice comes from the UAE and this guy, like literally a guy whose entire career is dedicated to lying for money.
Or form of radicalism. The fact that Islamic Relief, for instance, is registered as a charity here, but all the way in Saudi Arabia, in UAE and other countries is banned because of the investigation that showed that this charity is sending money all the way to some terrorist groups in the Middle East.
Yes.
It tells you a lot. I think you have more extremists in UK than you have in the...
By the way, this interview is amazing because GB News ended up getting sued for this because of the shit he said here. In London, Amjad Taha got GB News sued for falsely saying Islamic Relief Worldwide funds Islamist terrorism. It's so amazing. It's so amazing.
The Middle East.
Really?
At this stage, absolutely. The things that some of the Islamists say in various mosques, and we have been seeing that online, the terminology they use, the analysis they make, the statements they actually make, they would not be able to say it all the way in Afghanistan, for example, or in Iraq.
What could you not say in what could you not say in the UK? Sorry, what could you not say in Afghanistan that you could say in the UK?
So how has this been allowed to flourish in the UK? What's your analysis of
in
that?
the name of democracy? So the Muslim Brotherhood, they use the freedom of speech in a manner where they will be anti-Semite.
I love this guy. I love how stupid this guy is. Oh, Tommy Robinson becoming a puppet of people like this will be his undoing. Amjad Taha is an idiot. And by the way, I have spoken about the emotes. There are a multitude of new emotes available for anyone who becomes a member.
In the name of freedom of speech, I absolutely stand against that, because I think anti-Semitism is not an opinion, it's a crime, and a crime against humanity. And once you allow that, on the 7th of October, for example, when it happened, the genocide against the Israelis, what I saw and what we witnessed is the fact that some Islamists all the way from here, in Small Heath, in Al Amrak, in Birmingham, and other areas, we saw their voices. It was pro-Hamas.
Yes.
And Hamas, as a force which carried that genocide in Gaza and also in Israel, it's actually the armed forces of the Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood in my country, for example, UAE, where Muslim, where Arab, is banned, but however is not banned in the United Kingdom.
So it should be banned?
Absolutely.
I really love, where my free speech dictatorship tells us that we should basically just be, where the dictatorship tells me that we're allowed to just do no free speech because of anti-Semitism. He's got a very odd voice. By the way, one of his funniest grifts is trying to coin the term the Hamas of Africa. He is the first person to ever use the term Hamas of Africa. He also talks regularly about how everyone apparently calls them the Hamas of Africa. By the way, if you want to read into how insane this is, Mark Owen Jones' article here is mind-boggling. It holds a section about how it's about basically these 10 influencers related to Amjad Taha, a ton of fake or very shady media outlets that publish their claims about Sudan, the UAE, Palestine, and the Muslim Brotherhood, but also the fact that these people have AI-generated books that are apparently, really good, look at this shit. All of their books, right? Andalusian, which is Andalusian, which is a play on words of Andalusia, The Digital Prophet, From Dose to Doses, Parenting Through the Lens of Faith, the Emirati Model. By the way, this is just actually a full-on endorsement of, this is just a full-on endorsement of the kafala system. The Unseen Journey, Unexpired. And no, what he's talking about is not the Boko Haram or anything like that. He's talking about the Muslim Brotherhood and the Sudanese Armed Forces. This guy who is a shill for the, who is a straight-up shill for the government of the United Arab Emirates, who are actually responsible for the violence and bloodshed in Sudan, who bear the largest responsibility, I should say, it is telling us that apparently Sudan is the Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas of Africa. But it reminds me really of that quote once again. The thing where he goes, where Frank goes in Always Sunny, you gotta remember that Boko Haram did not do 9/11. But yeah, these books are just, they have no bibliographies. They are just AI-powered crap. None of these people actually know anything about what they're talking about. One of them is an expert in the environment. This is a bit of a long read, but I would highly recommend it. They are heavily collaborating with Tommy Robinson, with all of these people, and just right-wing grifters. This is a load of crap, but they found their audience to sell it to. No wonder it's on GB News. No wonder it's being endorsed by Tommy Robinson. This is for, like, really, really stupid people.
What are my friends?
Right, this video is unusual. Once again, it's a tiny video with huge amounts from an organization called London Real.
These are some of my friends in the Emirates watching this right now, who are Islamic and who have their country.
Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Why does he look like this?
And they're looking at Tommy and they're thinking, what am I supposed to think about this guy? What are they supposed to think of the statements that you make?
Well, you have your Islamic...
Insider info from someone who works at a library. We do indeed receive AI books on occasion. I'm an aide in charge of shelving, so part of my job is to keep an eye out for them. Amazing. Amazing. Make sure you keep an eye out when you're getting Andalusian from the UAE.
Country, and you're happy for it to be an Islamic country, and you wouldn't want anyone to come in there telling you how to live your life. Yeah? We have our Christian country, it's our country, and in fact...
Why has he got a cut on his head?
It's been a phenomenal experience thus far. It has far exceeded. I view it now as the best investment I've ever made. The upside.
They have a very good handle on things in the United Arab Emirates. Understand, I think the UAE is a very poor example of an Islamic country.
Yeah, he's not even just got like a, like a healing cut. He's just straight up bleeding from his head. What is this?
Because it's a country that's drowning in wealth. Let's look at Afghanistan and see what it's like there. Let's look at Iran and see what it's like there. What's the freedom like? What's it like for non-Muslims in those countries?
Amazing. Talking about freedom in the context of the UAE. These people are such funny grifters. Like, the fact that people fall for this it's troubling, but it's also just indicative of how genuinely stupid people are.
Just like for the non-Muslims in Nigeria, yeah, where they're getting massacred by groups every day. In the Congo now, where they're getting massacred. What's it like? So I think, but the United Arab Emirates ban Muslim Brotherhood. They ban Hizb ut-Tahrir. They know how to...
He can't even say its name properly. Hizb ut-Tahrir.
...deal with these groups. They are a very wealthy nation. They don't allow the immigration problems that we allow. And they actually try warning us. So I don't think that it's a
They have warned. There's a famous speech.
You'd see...
Also, once again, they both love this stupid speech by the Emirati Foreign Minister, Abdullah bin Zayed. It's so stupid. But yeah, of course... And also, once again, how are you extrapolating a lesson from a country... How are you extrapolating any kind of lesson from a country that... Let's look at the mid-2020 to 2022 statistics. The UAE has a 10 million population. 9 million of them are foreign nationals. Like, how are you extrapolating any political lessons from this?
From the
where he said,
and even Saudi Arabia now, the new king of Saudi Arabia is trying to reform. I think that a lot of those nations understand, and in fact, if you look at the alliance, they stand with America, Israel on many issues now. Yeah, they understand the problems that come from literal Islam, and I'd say Qatar, the United Arab Emirates aren't spreading the Wahhabi Salafist sects as much as Qatar are. Qatar are a massive problem. Qatar and the funding that comes from Qatar is partly the problem why we face so many problems in Europe. They've destroyed France. All the money coming out of Qatar.
What is... okay, right. I was going to skip this. What is this? It is utterly ridiculous. Hey, what a Raim Leah. Shout out for getting your membership from Trevor Toes Tales. Thanks for your membership, man.
I know investing in crypto. It takes a...
Why is he... This guy's just skydiving in Dubai. Wait, who's the bad actor? Who's the bad actor? Oh, that's Sam Bankman-Fraud. Amazing. Amazing. I love this. But yeah, Tommy Robinson's recent commentary has been amazing, to say the least. A few months ago, here's what he had to say. As Turkey and Iran bankroll the Muslim Brotherhood regime in Sudan, the same mobs pushing the Free Palestine disruptions are pushing false narratives. As the UAE tries to salvage the situation and end the bloodshed, blame is shifted towards them. This guy is becoming such a funny grifter. Like, I mean, he was always a hilarious grifter. Like, very obviously not someone who was serious, who cared about anything. He was always someone who was just interested in grifting. Like, that's all he wanted to do. But yeah, of course, he's, of course he's now just talking about Sudan. The CEO of Call of Duty crashed a Ferrari pretty badly. Oh no, anyway. Yeah, I mean, I don't know which Call of Duty games that he made, but those were just US State Department propaganda. We'll finish up with one more video that Tommy has had the graciousness of sharing. Political analyst from the UAE sends a warning to the Emerald Isle about the Islamist invasion.
Of faith.
It's funny as well because this guy's just really boring in front of camera. Just the biggest load of crap in the world. By the way, he gets no motion as well. I'm just looking at his account. No one is liking this shit.
Includes associations, forums, but their real objective is not religious, it's political. They promote a global vision of political Islam. They dominate religious discourse, control Islamic education, and issue fatwas that serve an agenda. And behind the curtain, they function as a disciplinary network.
The amount of cuts in here is genuinely insane.
Rewarding loyalty, punishing dissent, and capturing leadership roles across Muslim communities. They exploit Ireland's non-profit laws to build financial pipelines, some of which have been quietly connected to extremist entities abroad. Charity is their branding, but indoctrination is their method. The Islamic movement in Ireland avoids violence, but it doesn't reject extremism. It simply outsources it. They shape minds, not battlefields. They set the tone for...
God, this guy is so boring. I don't even want to watch him. He is crap. Political analyst from the UAE sends warning to the Emerald Isle about the Islamist invasion of Ireland. It's just crap. That is all these people talk about. They are, like, obsessed with the UAE. Like, I'm obsessed with the UAE, but these people are just obsessed with lying about the Muslim Brotherhood. I genuinely, this disinfluence article that I've mentioned multiple times, it's genuinely insane. This article is one of the most unbelievable articles that I've ever seen. There are, like, fake news accounts, and by fake news, I literally mean totally made up organizations. All of the accounts were created pretty much around December 2024 or January 2025. These people were all created together. They are entirely made up, and they are probably in some way involved in feeding the narratives to Tommy Robinson. The guy endangering Muslims in British society is paid for by the United Arab Emirates. I don't think it can actually get more insane than that. Well, like, it's not insane because we understand and know what it is. But, like, yeah, this country responsible for genocide in Sudan, this country funding the SAF, this country who has destabilized Libya, and by the way, has worked with militant Islamist extremists in Libya who are part of Haftar's coalition. I'll actually check that. They have no problem doing it. But yeah, what these people fear most is democracy and freedom of speech. what they don't actually fear is the Muslim Brotherhood. They pretend to talk about the Muslim Brotherhood to just get away with it. Joel Sferrier, thank you so much for the 5 memberships. W for the gifties. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for supporting and watching. But yeah, these people are working together. Like, I don't think any of you should underestimate the negative influence of the UAE. They work with Israel. They are working to establish a dictatorial Middle East region. They are endangering Muslims in British society. They are endangering Muslims in the Middle East. They are trying to force them to live under exclusively dictatorial regimes. And there are still people who genuinely support Palestine, but don't want you to talk about, you know, that don't want you to talk about the UAE. Don't stop talking about the UAE. And also, just to please silence Scythe, make sure that you drop your emojis, your new emojis that you've been gifted if you've become a member. You've got access to a ton of emojis that I've set up for you. But yeah, I also find this, like, intersection with Western liberal identity politics so annoying. Like, the fact is that so many people, and people do this around Palestine, don't get me wrong, and I had a Palestinian friend who talked to me about this. He was like, another Palestinian person I knew was saying, oh, well, you know, I kind of prefer it when there are, like, exclusively Palestinian voices and stuff, and he said, why? His opinion was that in the context of Palestine, he would rather listen to someone who was educated rather than just someone who was, you know, basically like talking about Palestine because they were Palestinian. Because whilst it is important to center Palestinian voices, whilst it is important not to speak over Palestinians, it is also important to note that this whole identity being the answer to everything is stupid, because people like Amjad Taha, people like Tommy Robinson, all of these people will weaponize it. They literally tell you exactly how it is. And I know I've pulled up this this clip before. Like, look, go on YouTube right now. This is insane. This video is posted over and over again. Like, over and over again. UAE minister predicted extremism in Europe. Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed. How UAE and Saudi Arabia would handle extremists. UAE foreign minister Abdullah bin Zayed warning to the West. Radicals extremists will come. How UAE foreign minister predicted French riots in 2017, which, by the way, the riots were over a young black boy being killed. And thanks also, I'm loving the emotes. I'm loving the emotes that are coming in. The bongo doesn't work right in terms of, like, as a GIF, unfortunately. But just look at this amazing amount of videos on this. Europe will suffer from Islamism, radical terrorism. This is from Statecraft, 11 million views. UAE's foreign minister shares wild foresight regarding Europe's woke culture, 25 million views. Look at this intersection with Western societies, like, love of this crap.
A day that we will see far more radical extremists and terrorists coming out of Europe because of lack of decision-making, trying to be politically correct, or assuming that they know the Middle East and they know Islam.
Oh shit, sorry, I'll restart. Oh my god, sorry, I didn't realize you're in full cam. Sorry, have you missed all of that? Let me just show you. Look at these. Look at this shit. Look at how many videos there are. 25 million views. UAE's foreign minister shares wild foresight regarding Europe's woke culture. Look at this fucking intersection. Look at this intersection with, you know, people who are basically like, oh my god, he's speaking sense because he's talking about radical Islam. Like, look at this. There's so many of them. 5 million views. The numbers on this are insane. Wow. It is genuinely unbelievable. This is the foreign minister of the UAE. This is a guy involved in extreme violence in Sudan. He is not some normal character, but we'll watch it.
There will come a day that we will see far more radical extremists and terrorists coming out of Europe because of the lack of decision-making, trying to be politically correct, or assuming that they know the Middle East and they know Islam and they know the others far better than we do. And I'm sorry, but that's pure ignorance.
Like, listen to him weaponizing that exact rhetoric. Oh, people think they know the other, which is a crazy term, Orientalist term to use, that they know extremism, that they know this thing, that they know that thing better than us. No, I'm the Arab. I'm the person who knows, while speaking from a murderous dictatorial country who destabilizes the Middle East. This is terrifying that these people are treated as legitimate voices, that they are now being given a vehicle through Tommy Robinson to gain even more legitimacy amongst far-right extremists. Like, a terrible, terrible guy, you know? Like, terrible. Yeah. Zionist debate tactics. These people offer themselves as interpreters of Middle Eastern culture. They pretend themselves that they are people who are understanding the MENA region. They are not any of these things. They are dangerous, and they want you all to live under these AI dictatorships just as much as all of these creepy billionaires in Western society do. Like, these people are terrifying. And the fact, like, actually, you know what? They're not terrifying. They're not people we should be scared of. They're people we should understand, that we should be able to combat, that we should be able to, you know, discuss and target the politics of. Anyway, guys, really quickly, I'm going to show you the new BRB screen whilst I go to the bathroom for a pee real quick. And I'm just going to put on some nice music for you. And then we'll cover Jeffrey Epstein. I'll be back in like a minute or two. I just realized how stupid I am. Sorry. What I did was I accidentally put the music off and my microphone on, so I'm very sorry about that. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. Sorry. Whoops. But yeah, I guess... I did kind of want to cover this, but I don't know if there's enough in it. Oh, right. We're going to talk about Epstein. There is crazy stuff happening with Epstein right now. I mean, like truly unbelievable stuff is happening involving Epstein. I mean, I've just seen it, one of the craziest claims I've seen. But yeah, I'm sorry, I peed and that's the problem. So Bill Clinton, obviously someone who is heavily involved in the Epstein files, has said, "The Epstein Files Transparency Act imposes a clear legal duty on the United States Department of Justice to produce the full and complete record the public demands and deserves. However," I'm not reading it like that. "However, what the Department of Justice has released so far, and the manner in which it did so, makes one thing clear." Also, by the way, thank you for the BRB screen, Silent Scythe. But yeah, so here it is. It makes one thing clear. Someone or something is being protected. We do not know whom, what, or why, but we do know this. We need no such protection. Accordingly, we call on President Trump to direct Attorney General Bondi to immediately release any remaining materials referring to, mentioning, or containing a photograph of Bill Clinton. This includes, without limitation, any records that may exist and are subject to disclosure under the Public Law 119-38 enacted November 19th, 2025. Bro, people have described this as pedophile kamikaze. Kind of crazy because Bill Clinton seemingly knows that he is very implicated and is so like, yep, okay, get Trump. Bill Clinton is definitely a bad guy, but this is at least an interesting thing to be doing, to be like, get Trump, get Trump and me too. Including grand jury transcripts, interview notes, photographs, and findings by the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. Refusal to do so will confirm the widespread suspicion that the DOJ's actions to date are not about transparency, but about insinuation, using selective release to imply wrongdoing, and individuals who have already been repeatedly cleared by the very same Department of Justice over many years under presidents and attorneys. Like, yeah, Brandon described it as pedophile kamikaze, and it's true. It's true. Like, you know what? If Bill Clinton brings down Trump, fuck him, but at least he brings down a Trump. We'll get into more, but by the way, one thing I want to talk about is wait, where is this? Oh wait, here it is. They pretend that this is about this is the other part that I wanted to look at. They pretend that this is about caring about victims, but look at how they're redacting this. This is from this is about Epstein's first deal in 2008, where he got that sweetheart detail, where he went to prison for like an incredibly short amount of time, was allowed to go on work release, and was basically allowed to do whatever. Look at the amount of redactions here. Person is redacted is not in yet. We'll discuss as soon as he gets here. From redacted to redacted, redacted, CC, redacted, redacted. Subject letter Epstein work release. Hi guys, any comments on the Epstein work release letter? Redacted is all ready to hand deliver it. Why is this not redacted? Sorry, why is this redacted? Why is this redacted at all? Like, why? This isn't protecting any victim at all. This is Julie K. Brown, who's apparently a great reporter on this. The DOJ has filed the 2008 government emails pertaining to the events that led to the secret provisions of Jeffrey Epstein's plea agreement, including his work release. Almost all of the names of the government officials involved are redacted. This means no one can see who was involved and how those decisions were made. Last I checked, the Epstein Files Transparency Act did not call for prosecutors or even any lawyers' names to be redacted. Why? It may not even be Trump here, because this is before Trump was in power. Why have all of these names been redacted? It is not just Trump being redacted in this. It is a huge, huge amount of individuals who have been stricken from the record, who we are never going to see the names of for no reason other than the fact that they were involved in government. But yeah, listen to this. So a victim sent a complaint to the US Attorney's Office about having their victim settlement withheld after a claim was processed in her name and the money was kept by the staff. Ridiculous. Have you redacted instead of... Thanks for the $2, Territory. But yeah, I have redacted instead of redacted for redacted. Yeah. Sorry. That's what I've been doing. But, I mean, it's not just a clusterfuck. It's a very clear attempted cover-up of what's going on. No, redacted, I am not. These people are engaged in criminal acts. Either way, I'm still a victim of multiple crimes, a rape survivor, and I am alerting you to the fact that these people are hurting people. Why is the US attorney all of a sudden not interested in criminal activity? Either way, I need some help here. Olson, Wendy, redacted. The United States Attorney's Office of Southern District of New York does not have anything to do with the compensation fund. All that was done civilly. Are you represented by a lawyer? Hi, redacted. I was almost annihilated by the victim's compensation fund. I'm still in a state of acute rape trauma. I need to report what the fund is doing. I also have reason to believe a claim was processed in my name and the money was kept by the staff. Can you please help me report this? I think the Vulnerable Adults Act covers this, as I am disabled. Please let me know. Thank you. It's just a victim basically saying that the money was stolen from them. And apparently they're redacting the files to... what? Protect victims? But yeah, CoffeeZilla dropped a good video about this. Because the FBI... Basically, I mean, it's very obvious, by the way. They're leaking these around Christmas, or publishing around Christmas as they should. The reason that they're doing this is because people are not going to care as much over Christmas. That's why they're putting out the Epstein files now. That's why they're doing it. 100%, this is why they're doing this. Because they think people will care less. But the reason, seemingly, for such a fast second tranche of Epstein files... is, yeah.
I just accidentally released 11,000 Jeffrey Epstein files that they hadn't publicly put out yet, but we got access to them. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to access them. Here's what that looks like. It's volume 8 of the files, but you can see right now that they've only released 7 data sets. And so myself, the guys at Jmail, and the guys at DropSite, we've been investigating this. I've partnered with them to kind of look at some of these files. And they got access to volume 8 early. You would just type it in the URL. It wasn't like indexable on search, but you could just type in the specific URL and it would just come up. You could download the entire zip file, and that's what we did. We've been looking through it. I want to go over some of it because I believe some of what we've seen directly contradicts the FBI's earlier statement that, oh, there's no evidence, or we did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. That's what they told us, right? They said, we've already looked through the files. You don't need to see the files back in July.
By the way, I also think that these files are like a tiny, tiny amount. I think even the amount that they're claiming is public, and like that is not yet public, that they have, is nothing. And also, I've not heard Strippers Lounge in dataset 8.
Of course, all the pressure has made them now start releasing some of this stuff. And we believe that this was slated for release, but remember, they weren't going to release all the files yet. They had to hold some back. Well, we believe that these 11,000 files are part of what they held back, because clearly they aren't out, and clearly they were ready, because a lot of these are redacted. I mean, already you can see we found several files that were, once again, over 100 pages of redacted information. So it was all...
This is just protecting the most powerful. This is also the most insane stuff, that this stuff has just all been redacted. They're relying on people being distracted by Christmas trees, the gifts. The problem is that no one can afford Christmas gifts. Yeah, I think you might be right about that. That's a good take. There was supposed to be 7 data sets, I think.
ready to be released. It's unclear why it wasn't. But let me caveat before we get into the material that this is a breaking story, and as such, I'm sure there's going to be some pieces of information that we are...
By the way, some of the stuff in this data set is unbelievable. There's a claim in here that Trump sexually abused someone, that a limousine driver, Trump's former limousine driver, heard him on the phone repeating over and over again, talking about Jeffrey, and the girl was found dead. Trump was like talking about sexually abusing a girl, and it came out.
Interpreting or trying to interpret live, and because of that, I want to warn you to withhold your judgment on some of this stuff until we get more evidence. I'm sure the president's going to be asked about some of this stuff.
The link to the next part was the same +1. The lack of cybersecurity continues to astound me. I mean, maybe firing everyone in the government isn't a great idea for doing cover-ups and like manipulation of stuff. And yeah, this, by the way, this is in the Epstein files. This is not an exaggeration. I like it is 100% in the Epstein files. There's a huge amount about Trump in here, and like you look, Trump did this shit.
I'm sure Todd Blanche, Pam Bondi, they're going to get asked about this because it is extremely damning, I think, what we see in some...
Also, by the way, the fact that Candace Owens, world conspiracy theorist #1, and Tucker Carlson and shit are not, like, so hot on this shit, are not so hyper-focused on this stuff, is unbelievable to me.
Of this. Specifically, I want to draw your attention immediately to the 10 co-conspirators that are mentioned in some of these emails in 2019. Now, this is just alarming stuff because prior to this, remember that all we really had was Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. That's the only people who have ever faced any charges at all. Ghislaine Maxwell.
Like, undeniably, right? Trump broke off his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. The reason they broke up was because of a fight, but yeah. I haven't seen... I will look at the Epstein letter later on.
So the only one who actually faced consequences, right? But in 2019, apparently there were 10 co-conspirators. Now, the people who were sending this to and from have been blacked out, but at the bottom we see that this is the Violent Crime Section, Crimes Against Human Trafficking Unit. And we can see that of the 10 co-conspirators, 3 have been located in Florida, served grand jury subpoenas, 1 in Boston, 1 in New York City, 1 in Connecticut were served. 4 out of the 10 are outstanding with attempts having been made.
One is a wealthy businessman. That's probably Les Wexner.
Wealthy businessman in Ohio. A lead is being sent to CV, and the remaining 3 are currently out of pocket. This is stunning stuff. Previously, we did not know how many co-conspirators were suspected of, or I'm not aware of anything like that. And additionally, some of the details on this are revealed later because we see this...
By the way, the stuff about Prince Andrew in here is insane. And someone asked, how does the UK feel about this? That is where a lot of the anger has gone. But mark my words, people around Prince Andrew, people in the security services, people in politics knew what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. There is no way that they didn't.
Subject line, it says co-conspirators at the top. And it says, blank does not need to head out. We made contact with blank last night in New York City. Blank last night in New York. Contact was made with blank, blank, and blank. By the way.
Why is this redacted? Like, seriously. Yeah, put your redactions in chat. Like, this is insane. Is Patel a Viking? Well, we'll see you in Valhalla, bro. I have the watch now. I'm with my girlfriend. I flew on my plane to meet her. By the way, when I was a podcaster, I cared about Epstein, but now, the government is not lying about him.
I love how these potential co-conspirators are people who are being blacked out. Like, why? I thought the whole point of this was you couldn't redact.
And also, by the way, learn about conspiracy theorists who are actually challenging power. Like, just learn about it. The people asking serious questions about Epstein, rather than, doing, like, conspiracies about, like, fucking Egyptian planes. Or, like, even exaggerating the Epstein stuff. Like, this is so serious right now. And so many people just aren't touching it. So many people who've engaged in the maddest conspiracies for years.
People for personal information reasons or for public embarrassment, you could only redact on the basis of it being a victim. And I'm not sure how these people could possibly be victims here.
Epstein Files Transparency Act prohibits redactions, quote, on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. Has anything been redacted on that basis?
Absolutely, positively not.
But anyways, you can see that it says attempts were made to blank and Brunel, that's Jean-Luc Brunel, the famous pedophile who's now dead. Blank is confirmed to live in New York, was a way for...
Like, one of these people, Ron Lauder, who Epstein spoke about, is literally just like giving speeches still. Steve Bannon was at the fucking Turning Point USA thing. Steve Bannon was there. Steve Bannon is like Epstein's BFF.
The holiday weekend, we did not have a good address, but an attempt was made in New York. Attempts are made to Maxwell today. Blank, you get it. Like, it's already, all the people they suspected this whole time are redacted, of course. And they say, I do not know about Ohio.
To be fair, their security seems so shit that what do you think are the odds that basically, like Handala or some other hacking group just gets everything?
Contacting Wexner. Now, that's a reference to Les Wexner, the former CEO of Victoria's Secret. This is huge. We've long suspected that he was, of course, one of the co-conspirators. And obviously, the fact the FBI suspected it isn't a 100% proof confirmation. But clearly, they were serving grand jury subpoenas. I mean, that must be who they're talking about, one wealthy businessman in Ohio, because later it's confirmed by this.
It's actually crazy that this has come out. Like, that Trump undeniably covered this up. This happened under Trump. This didn't happen under Biden. Biden covered it up too. Well, I don't think Biden personally covered it up. I don't think he understood anything that was going on. But, like, Trump covered this up.
Whole idea of Ohio contacting Wexner. And you can see at the bottom, this is from the FBI New York. When you get a chance, give me an update on the status of the 10 co-conspirators. This is really bad to know that we knew as early as 2019 the right people to target, and yet our FBI, who's had evidence of this the entire time, or leads on it, has declined to prosecute, right? Because this is what the FBI now tells us. Oh, don't bother. Don't worry about it. That's what they wanted us to believe in July. Fast forward to December, we find out there's 10 guys that they knew about since like 6 years ago. You know, it's insane. Even over here, we see that in one of the lawsuits, I believe this is with Maxwell, the government actually wanted to refer to people at trial as co-conspirators of the defendant, aka Maxwell, for the purposes of a rule. And then they say Jeffrey Epstein, and then there are two names.
It's what the fuck is wrong with these freaks? Just why? There's just so many people involved in this, and it blows my mind that many people did this, hid it and lied. Just like an omerta amongst like the biggest and most richest and wealthiest people in American society, British society, and the annals of power everywhere of like, don't do anything bad against me, because they all know so much about each other that they're protected by people like Trump, by the US government, you know?
Listed there who are going to be listed as co-conspirators. Again, who are those people? We were told that the only co-conspirator now is Maxwell, and if you don't believe that, you're crazy, you're a conspiracy theorist. But back in 2020...
Like, genuinely, why would, like Charlie Kirk's assassination versus this? Like, we have material proof now. And I mean, we all knew it, by the way. This was, like, you didn't really need this. But when, like, this kind of stuff, trying to, like, finding this out is, there is confirmed proof of these co-conspirators. Like, this is way more significant than anything going on with, like, fucking Charlie Kirk. How this... I guess TrueAnon is kind of also indicative of this. TrueAnon is huge, like, because of the fact that they're good reporters on Epstein. Look into the girl who painted Clinton a dress that made a police report stating Epstein stole her art collection. Yeah, it's not that she stole his art collection. It's that she stole his... stole naked photos of her underage sister that she'd taken for art, and Epstein refused to give them back. Maybe Candace's her husband and father are in the files, maybe. And also, by the way, like, Zionists, realistically, there were many Zionists who were involved with this, undeniably. Many prominent Zionists. Ron Lauder is literally at the, what was it, at the World Jewish Congress or wherever, giving a speech, and Epstein mentioned him as the link to understanding Dubai or something like that. And I mean, he was with the CEO of Dubai Port World, right? Or like a senior figure in Dubai Port World. Epstein, this is. But, like, I don't think, like, specifically Israel is the biggest player in this. Like, yeah, the Israel stuff is really interesting, like Epstein's involvement. But I don't think they're the reason that you can't challenge this. I think it's because so many people who are very rich and involved in American power were, you know, like, close to them.
This was a idea not just promulgated by wackos. It was promulgated by who? The FBI themselves, the Department of Justice. Look at this. Co-conspirator question transcript. This is from USA NYS. They say, question, when Jeffrey Epstein died, a lot of people asked, who's next? Is the government going to hold people who are accused of helping him recruit these girls? Are they going to hold them accountable? And then the answer is, well, I'll note that the original charges against Jeffrey Epstein contained a conspiracy charge, and we allege that there were conspirators involved. Jeffrey Epstein couldn't have done what he did without the assistance of others, and I can assure you that our investigation is moving forward.
That's how complicit, by the way, both the Democrats, both the Democrats, and Republicans were involved in covering this up. They covered this shit up.
Except, I guess not. Against everyone except for Ghislaine Maxwell, it got killed. Like, Ghislaine Maxwell was the only one who faced justice, right? Except then she got moved to Club Fed, to this nice prison, right? And by the way, a whole interesting interview we saw happen with Todd Blanche, which is Trump's...
The Todd Blanche interview is crazy. Crazy. Genuinely crazy.
Former defense lawyer. So he got grilled on Meet the Press about his...
But also, by the way, like, I understand that it's, like, crazy to see this directly in documents. These people around Jeffrey Epstein, we all knew it. We all knew it. If you just, like, went in and looked into it. And yeah, like the stream. But yeah, crazy.
Relationship. Like, why did Ghislaine Maxwell go to this nicer prison immediately afterwards? And while he declines to comment on it, he says something very interesting.
Why was she moved just days after you interviewed her, Mr. Blanche?
So that's a Bureau of Prison Security issue that I will...
Do you know why she got moved? Do any of you know why she got, like, moved? It's because in the interview, she's like, oh, Trump was always a gentleman. Trump was always a great guy. He didn't do these things and blah, blah, blah. But yeah.
Will not talk about.
Did you have anything to do with it? Did you have anything to do with it?
Let me finish. First of all, I am responsible for the Bureau of Prisons. So every decision that they make lands on my desk to the extent it needs to. But just let me talk about the security issue. At the time that I met Miss Maxwell, there was a tremendous amount of scrutiny and publicity towards her, and the institution she was in, she was suffering numerous threats against her life. So the BOP is not only responsible for putting people in jail and making sure they stay in jail, but also for their safety.
All right, so he's like, yeah, that's crazy. No, I'm not going to talk about that, but every decision lands on my desk. I mean, eventually he goes on to say that, oh, she was in so much danger. We were worried about her safety as a prisoner. I just got to say, there's a lot of concern about Ghislaine Maxwell. All of a sudden, I don't know where that came from. There's not a lot of concern about these conspirators that I guess we've swept under the rug.
Also, for Trump, she just knows too much, and her dying in prison, nah, she can't die in prison. Ghislaine Maxwell cannot die in prison because, you know, we saw what happened to Jeff.
That we don't care about anymore since 2019. Yes, we knew about them and didn't care. And what's even more concerning is our president also seems concerned with the wrong people. Like, while Todd Blanche is concerned about Ghislaine Maxwell's safety and well-being, you've got Trump concerned about the people who are going to be unfairly implicated in the Jeffrey Epstein files.
Sorry. Look at how much money and, look at how much fun the people with money get to have at your expense. Look at how much fun the rich and powerful are having. Look at the way in which they can escape justice for the most obscenely horrifying crimes. That's how sick our system is.
rather than worrying about how to catch the people that we obviously let go through the cracks.
The victims were protesting that too many of them were redacted.
I know there are a lot of people that are angry about all of the pictures of other people, you know, but I think it's terrible. Look, I like Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with Bill Clinton. I've been nice to him. He's been nice to me. We've always gotten along. Respect him. I hate to see photos come out of him, but this is what the Democrats, mostly Democrats, and a couple of bad Republicans are asking for. So they're giving their photos of me, too. Everybody was friendly with this guy. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it. But you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein years ago, many years ago.
Now, I'll be honest, he gets off track from here, but the point he was making is that those poor, innocent, bankers who were meeting with Epstein, the poor lawyers who were meeting with Epstein, like all of Epstein's friends are just caught up in this unfortunate thing. And it's just such a reversal of what previously the DOJ and FBI believed. In fact, they believed it so much that they got a federal search warrant for the SDNY, and they got it, and part of the...
He knows they're going down together.
Feasible data, part of the stuff that they commanded them to seize as part of the search warrant, which, by the way, I think you need some kind of standard of evidence for. I'm not a lawyer. You guys can chime in. But you can't just get a search warrant without some kind of evidence.
Hey, Ellen, welcome to Shout Out for becoming a member. And yeah, calling him a big boy is weird.
That you believe there's a crime that's been committed. And part of it says evidence concerning the identity or location of co-conspirators of Jeffrey Epstein, including blank and Ghislaine Maxwell. So again, who is blank? Well, they keep redacting the names.
But people will also, by the way, anyone who isn't a serious leftist, what address do you have to Jeffrey Epstein? Like, genuinely, what address do you have? Because Jeffrey Epstein became ultra wealthy through, exploiting capitalism. What Jeffrey Epstein was actually good at was basically wealth management and hiding people's assets.
It is utterly ridiculous.
Being willing to broker any kind of deal with literally anybody. He was willing to do security deals, to sell them to dictatorships, to sell anything. He would do anything. And also, Ellen, thank you for becoming a member, 5871 Ellen. And thank you for gifting a membership. Shout out Donna Vorse. Enjoy your gifted membership. But yeah, that's an incredibly kind. Thank you. Thank you so much. But yeah, I mean, Jeffrey Epstein did so many heinous, horrible things legally, and then proceeded to use that money and influence to escape justice for so many years.
Of these co-conspirators, uncharged, remember, and now they're saying we have no evidence to charge anybody. Clearly, they had evidence for a search warrant, and it's just completely ridiculous that some of this stuff is redacted and that we're viewing the rich and powerful people who are mentioned as the victims here. Now, that's all I want to talk about for now. Remember, this is a developing story, so there's, I'm sure, going to be more evidence that comes out. I will try to keep you updated. I'm probably going to cover more of this stuff in the future because there's so much here. But I had to get this out while it was basically not public yet. I mean, I think it's eventually going to be public. When, we don't know. But you can access all of it at jmail.world. I'll leave a link in the...
Genuinely insane. Genuinely insane. And I mean, some of the stuff that's already being talked about. By the way, I just wanted to show you this. Have any of you seen the VR of Jeffrey Epstein's house? This is actually insane. I won't play the music. Someone's made a VR of his Upper East Side mansion. I don't know if it's, it really doesn't help that this looks kind of like some kind of Silent Hill-esque thing because of these, the black around the sides. But then it also doesn't help because what is this picture? This is so grotesque. Genuinely, look at this. Oh...
It is utterly ridiculous.
Joel Sverrier, thanks for the Norwegian krona. Thank you for that. An incredibly kind donation. A Merry Christmas. A Merry Christmas to you and everyone in the chat. Yeah, I mean, it is an incredibly thank you so much, and but yeah, it is an incredibly creepy mansion. It's incredibly creepy. Like, oh, there's the Clinton photo. The guy's from Czechoslovakia. He's an interior decorator. His house looked like shit. And yeah, thank you, Joel. Thank you for the gifteds. No, I think that's TRX they're called. Yeah, sorry. Happy holidays from woke Keir Starmer's Britain. Yeah, I've heard this as well. Some of the redactions were done so badly. Some of the redactions are done so badly that you can literally just copy and paste and find them. The only thing that annoyed me about that is they shouldn't have released that. And oh, by the way, on the Curtis thing, yeah, maybe we'll do Curtis, maybe we'll do a couple of other things, especially the Power of Nightmares is a great idea to do. Yeah, I did see the fake Epstein CGI. So apparently, how I heard that got there is that basically someone sent it to the Attorney General for being like, "Oh, what's going on here? Like, how does this make sense?" And the answer apparently was that it was sent to them, and they just have inserted it in a place to make it look like Epstein took his own life. Yes. The reason they shouldn't have made that public is so that... Sorry, I didn't finish that sentiment. The reason that they shouldn't have made that public was so that they could have...
It is utterly ridiculous.
They could have mass gone through them before the government had a chance to fix it. But that's the only reason that kind of annoyed me. Adobe, thanks for the membership. It's just weird. Like, ugh. This mansion is a bit creepy. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for becoming a member. Crazy. Look at this. Yeah, it's always the ones that you least expect who are going to have incredibly creepy homes. Oh, Jesus Christ. We can stop this now because there's a lot of sort of unsavory art on there that may be a bit of an issue. But yeah. It has crazy music. Just thinking it would be an amazing to see you guys. Yeah, I think we might, basically, I think what we might do with that is we will just do, like, multiple things. And someone asked, had I covered Thunberg, Greta being arrested. But yeah, by the way, we're now gonna, and there's a warning here, obviously, for, like, I mean, already we've been talking about it, and maybe I should have done it at the start, but some of the stuff in here is despicable. Listen to this one. So this is from The Invisible Man. About 99.9% sure this is Prince Andrew. So this is sent to Ghislaine Maxwell on the 16th of August 2001. I am up here at Balmoral Summer Camp, Balmoral, for the royal family. Activities take place all day. I am totally exhausted at the end of each day. The girls are completely shattered, and I will have to give them an early night today. How it is as it is tiring splitting them up all the time. How's LA? Have you found me some inappropriate friends? Let me know when you are coming over, as I am free from August 2nd until August 25th until 2nd of September, and want to go somewhere hot and sunny with some fun people before having to put my nose firmly to the grindstone in fall. Any ideas greatly received. See ya, A. It's Prince Andrew. He called himself the Invisible Man. There's also a Ghislaine response to that, so I don't know where... Oh my god, I've just searched something and it's just coming up with... where's this one? Where's this one of him talking about... seeming... So here we got the confirmation that it's Andrew. So here's Ghislaine and Andrew texting each other. Crazy that they were just talking about their sex crimes on social media. Through emails. How stupid were these people? This is a later date. Got it. Will ring him today if I can. Love you, Andrew. Kiss, kiss, kiss. I thought you would like to see what I sent. Have a great time. I just gave Andrew your telephone number. He is interested in seeing the NASCAR lines. He can ride, but it is not his favorite sport, i.e. pass on the horses. Some sightseeing, some two-legged sightseeing. Raid, intelligent, pretty fun, and from good families. And he will be very happy. I know I can rely on you to show him a wonderful time, and that you will only introduce him to friends that you can trust and rely on to be friendly and discreet and fun. He does not want to read about any trip in the papers, whom or what he saw. Call me if you have any questions. Otherwise, you can expect a very English-sounding gentleman on the phone to call up and say hi. I told him it would be the best if he made his plans directly with you. The only part that I am jealous about is that he will get to see you and that he will be in Peru and have you as his tour guide for a day. Bezos, Jeff Ghislaine. So that's what Ghislaine was sending to Andrew. I mean, you have it confirmed. That's his name. What I find very hard to deal with, or to kind of suspend my belief around, is that, you know, what I find hard to suspend my belief around is that none of the royal family intelligence assets, that none of the people who, by the way, these people are surveilled. They're the royal family. Undeniably, they're surveilled. They're followed. There is no way that they could escape having any following. Why did none of these people know? They would have been in contact with other intelligence services who would have said, yeah, these people like Jeffrey Epstein have allegations against them. There are more people who knew about this. Hello, Chris, chat, and Besos means kisses in apparently that. Hello, Sophie. Hello, Gatto Surfer. Hello, all of you. But yeah, I think more royals knew about Andrew's seedy behavior. Like, I really do. But by the way, let's just have a look at. Let's find out what the GB News has to say.
It's a big story, really, because first of all, when the police went to visit him, and they regularly check up on, they're supposed to, everyone with gun licenses, and they went because it's the kind of thing, if they didn't check on him, someone would have pointed it out. And also, it wasn't Andrew himself they spoke to, it was his valet. Now, if his valet wasn't knowledgeable about the guns, he could have not answered one of the questions correctly, and that's enough for the police on the spot to withdraw the certificate. Now, they've taken the certificate away, but he's still got his guns, and he's entitled to use them and transport them, as long as he's accompanied by a licensed gun owner. Now, as he only uses them for shooting on shoots, when he's surrounded by licensed gun owners, obviously, there's no big deal. So,
have they leaked this, though, Piers, to try and humiliate him?
Yes, I think so.
Because I'm sure to the point now.
This is like the anti-pedophile, women-defending intelligence unit. Sorry, women-defending, highly intelligent, anti-woke show giving a weepy account of Prince Andrew not being allowed to have guns.
I begin to think, hang on, what more are you going to do to this bloke?
Yeah, I mean, that's why on this occasion...
Like, listen to this. What more are you going to do to this bloke? Most people in the UK are outraged by this, but GB News, the anti-paedophile, women-loving show defeating radical Islam, are upset that Prince Andrew might lose his guns.
I'm a little sympathetic because this is really not a story. He's still got his guns. Right. He can still use them.
Right.
And when he moves to Sandringham, where there's some very good shooting around there, particularly at Hokum, very good partridge, he will...
Says one who shot the partridge.
What does he mean that they regularly check on people with a gun license? You mean if you have a license, you're subjected to... Yeah, I mean, the UK's gun laws are a lot stricter than yours over in the US. Like, you used to be able to have them, like, just lying around the house if you had, like, a right to own one. But now you have to keep them in locked cabinets. There's, like, a lot of heavy restrictions around it. Yeah, exactly. He should lose his freedom, Matt. Laughing my ass off. Forget about the guns. Adobe, like this is like the reason I'm saying this is like the anti-pedophile network. This is insane. Look at these. These people pretend to be the outsiders in British media. This is the most cucked to the establishment, cucked to power, to dictatorship news channel imaginable. They have a guy on defending Prince Andrew or Andrew Winter Mountbatten, and they're all laughing.
Exactly. Anyway, when he does move there, he'll be able to reapply for a certificate and get one, I'm sure.
But this must be a case where the police ought to put out a bit more. I mean, if only to refute your point that it was just an excuse, just to, let's have another go at it.
Yeah, it does feel a bit like that.
Well, exactly, which is why I think the police need to.
Oh, I'm sorry, GB News, that they're having a go at a pedophile. Who gives a shit? He's a pedo.
Explain a bit more. So, in the event that they were worried that they weren't being kept safely or weren't being transported safely or whatever the concern might have been, they ought to say that. I find it hard to believe that it was just...
by the way, Trump was soliciting... Prince Andrew was soliciting women from Ghislaine Maxwell.
It was just malice to go there and let's strip him of yet another title, his gun license.
I think if the valet, Andrew's only mistake was delegating the discussion to his valet rather than him talking himself to the officer or officers. There may well have been more than one, I suspect.
Oh my God, this is today. This is today. This is today. This is literally... I didn't even realise this was a story. I thought this was last Christmas. Look at this. They're saying that this guy is a major victim.
If they did...
What, yeah. Have you considered paedophile gun owners' feelings?
Give the...
Prince Andrew was getting women from Ghislaine Maxwell to abuse.
Correct answer to one of the questions, then the police can take immediate action by removing the certificate. Now, I know of other examples when the police have taken certificates away from people who either stupidly had a joke about, oh, it's not locked up because I want to have a go at my mother-in-law or something, and then they...
Oh, sorry. What? Sorry, I just he's just like, yeah, you should make like a people get their guns taken away for joking about their mother-in-law in woke Britain.
They really take action and probably take the gun away. I know this has happened, but so when the police hit them, the moral of the story is if you've got guns and they're...
It's actually amazing. This guy is a sex offender. Like, okay, he may not be convicted. He was associated with the most high-profile trafficking sex offender in the world.
Licensed and the police come round, take it very seriously.
Yeah. Oh no, he's lost his sex offenders. GB News, oh God.
Do you think it's gone too far against Prince Andrew?
Do you think it's gone too far against Prince Andrew? Fuck no, the guy should be in prison.
He's lost everything in a sense. Well, he's losing his home. He's lost the Prince Andrew title. I must say, I thought that was quite tough.
Oh my God. This is today. They are just sat here defending a pedophile and saying he's got it too tough. You cannot make this up. This is gold.
And he was born with it.
Well, I mean, the whole point
and remember,
was...
he's been found guilty of nothing.
Yeah, but obviously the king has a certain view about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
Totally inappropriate, his relationship.
Precisely.
You know what? I think having a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein should probably have everything that you have ever had being taken away from you. But especially if the position that you were in was the fucking Prince of England. So for the person who asked earlier, what does the UK think about the Jeffrey Epstein situation? Most people are disgusted, but the wonderful GB News, oh no, they're not disgusted. They're upset for Prince Andrew.
And we don't know what more will come out. And obviously, just because you're pictured in the Epstein files doesn't mean you're guilty of anything. So I also appreciate that. But I think that
it's because he lied over how long he dated.
Yes, and we had the very unfortunate interview with Emily Maitlis, which went completely wrong. So I think that...
Oh my God. They're upset about an interview. The interview is like, I don't sweat. I don't sweat.
The king did the right thing, and if you're going to strip him of titles, strip him of all of them, and that includes being a prince.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Like, it's amazing. The sympathy for Prince Andrew. This is a good tweet. GB News calls for sympathy for Prince Andrew, as Andrew's guns are seized. Where is the sympathy for 382,000 homeless this Christmas? While Andrew hides in his estate, the king takes a 45.8 million pay rise. We don't need sympathy for disgraced Prince. We need an end to the 1.3 billion tax hoard. Also, by the way, I don't know if people have seen this, but starting to look kind of likely that if you needed any more evidence, they probably had Epstein killed. This is not a conspiracy theory at this point. This is not at all a conspiracy theory. The Justice Department said the files contain untrue and sensationalist claims against Trump. A previous release of files had been previously criticized. So within this, wait. Listen to this. At one point, the documents indicate prison officials plan to house Epstein in a cell with Cesar Sayok, a fanatical Trump supporter who in 2019 was sentenced to 20 years in prison after he mailed explosive devices to prominent Democrats and media figures. What the actual fuck? What the actual fuck? They planned to put in a fanatical, violent supporter of Donald Trump, with even, at a base level, someone like Jeffrey Epstein, who hated Trump, who'd known him, who probably would have explained to this guy, yeah, shit, you know, I've got these allegations against him. What the actual fuck? These documents are suggesting that Trump tried to put him in a cell with a violent guy. I mean, I don't give a shit about Epstein being in a cell with a violent guy, to clarify. Actually, you know what? No, I do. Because I don't think that Jeffrey Epstein should be anywhere but explaining fully what happened with these people. That's the only place where he belongs. Letting him take the coward's way out is insane. Even if it did. This is, by the way, also the alleged note from Jeffrey Epstein, which is probably easier to read from the side rather than the actual thing. Amjad Taha is in the Epstein files. I can't confirm nor deny, but I think Hamas, the Muslim Brotherhood of Africa, put him in there. Hamas, the Muslim Brotherhood of Africa, put him in there. Like Foles should say, we found no evidence or something, but these people are so openly lying. Yep. The pedo Burgerreich administration strikes again. Dear LN, as you know by now, I have taken the short route home. Good luck. We shared one thing, our love and caring for young ladies at the hope they'd reach their full potential. Our president shares our love of young, nubile girls. When a young beauty walked by, he loved to grab snatch, whereas we ended up snatching grub in the mess halls of the system. Life is unfair. Yours, Jeffrey Epstein. Apparently this was sent to Larry Nassar, a convicted sex offender by Epstein. I have no faith in the notion that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. I don't. I don't. You would have to convince me with a lot of heavy information. But that note is still insane that they, you know, it posted like condemnation of Trump. Maybe they were going to try and use it to be like, when this came out, to piece together this notion that Jeffrey Epstein just fanatically hated Trump. And yeah, what does nubile mean? Young, sexually attractive woman. Brilliant. You know what? That is probably something Jeffrey Epstein would say about young, nubile women. The guy's a perv. The guy is a perv. Did kill himself, but he exposed Trump in his suicide note, which he mailed to Larry Nassar. Yeah. I think 100% that it's an odd situation. By the way, pedo Trump traveled with Epstein more than reported. So this is another one about him. Larry, is that who Larry Nassar is? Interesting. For your situational awareness, wanted to let you know that the flight records we received yesterday reflect that Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than previously has been reported, or that we were aware, including during the period we would expect to charge in a Maxwell case. In particular, he is listed as a passenger on at least 8 flights between 1993 and 1996, including at least 4 flights on which Maxwell was also present. He is listed as having travelled with, among others, and at various times, Marla Maples, his daughter Tiffany, and his son Eric. On one flight in 1993, he and Epstein are the only 2 listed passengers. On another, the only 3 passengers are Epstein, Trump, and then 20-year-old Epstein victim. What the, like, genuinely, what? Yeah, voluptuous sounds like an Epstein kind of style world. I'm sorry for laughing. This is so serious and it is so repugnant. And I have seen some tweets in recent days which I've appreciated, which have talked about like how, you know, we should treat this with levity because it is incredibly significant and there are real victims in this, and the memification of this in some ways serves to undermine like how serious all of this is. But yeah, like just Trump is obviously heavily involved, but we didn't need the Epstein files to tell us that Trump is a sex offender, you know? Like, we didn't. Who is Marla Maples? Oh, she was married to Trump. I thought she was married to Trump. I thought you said she's dead. She's not dead, is she? She's alive. She didn't get Epsteined under Trump, did she? She's fucking alive, politics. Yeah. No, Marla Maples is alive, no? It doesn't say she's dead anywhere. I mean, she's going to the Global Wellness Forum with Sire G. Oh my god. Look at this guy with Bobby Kennedy. I am really angry that they're taking the vaccine. It's really inappropriate that there are so many people in this world who take vaccines. I am married to Cheryl. That was a really good impression of him. On 2 other flights, 2 of the passengers, respectively, were women who would be possible witnesses in the Maxwell case. We've just finished reviewing the full records, more than 100 pages of very small script, and didn't want any of this to be a surprise down the road. Why is any of this redacted? Why is any of this redacted? Why? Why can't I know who the Assistant U.S. Attorney of the Southern District of New York is at this time? Why can I not know? Why is that not a thing that is not acceptable? Didn't Marla Maples tell someone at a Trump party to not let their young daughter near Trump? Really? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. The guy has made some pretty outrageous statements. Also, by the way, look at this. This is a list of investigations started against Jeffrey Epstein. By the way, look how many are within Trump years. And yeah, sorry, Ivana is the one. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Maria Farmer, NYPD, New York Police Department, FBI, September 1996. Alicia Arden, Santa Monica Police Department, 1997. Can any of you tell me what WPB Police Department be? Where is WPB? Palm Beach, 2004 to 2005 to 2007. FBI, false start, 2015-16. SDNY, 2019 to 2021. That's how many investigations that were started against Epstein. There's some other crazy stuff that's been posted today, by the way. Maxwell was noted as a suspicious character on thank you. As a suspicious character on campus. Regarding Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein of 358 Brillo Way, a West Palm Beach intelligence report reads as follows. 3 female college students from PBAC were approached by an English woman who identified herself as Maxwell on the Palm Beach Atlantic campus. Maxwell said she needed young, beautiful, unmarried women to answer phones and do office work at her home on Palm Beach. Redacted went to the house on several occasions and described the telephone calls as men call in saying when they were going to drop off particular girls. All 3 girls said Maxwell and Epstein were secretive about what was going on at the home, and at least 2 of the girls complained about Epstein touching them inappropriately. How is this not going anywhere? Like, young girls were complaining about this. All 3 girls said they said Maxwell asked for a list of other girls who she could call up to work on short notice. She said she needed a large pool of girls to call as she did not know how many she would need at any given time. The callers were receptive to the idea of forwarding numbers of undercover personnel to Maxwell. Maxwell pays $200 per day for answering phones, brackets cash. Redacted said she worked there 1 day, but she had been there on at least 1 other occasion. I did not speak with Redacted. Their telephone number is redacted. At their dorm room on campus, roommates. Maxwell and Epstein allegedly have a private plane and frequently go to New York, leaving them out of the area for extended periods of time. Numerous attempts were made to reach the girls at the above-listed number with negative results. Finally, I contacted PBA Security, who stated the college was closed for the semester and would not reopen until next year. In the beginning, many messages were left which met with negative results. Look, these kind of redactions here of like, you know, I don't care, I don't think we need the police. Well, actually, you know what, in the context of who Epstein was and who all of these people who hated him were, this stuff probably might be redacted for the police officer, but of all of the students here, it's completely fair enough to redact it. Like, how is someone going round a university campus doing all of this shit and just getting away with it? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Look at this as well, from a 2009 report from, like, these people who were investigating Epstein at the time were so ahead of the curve. And yeah, why would Jeffrey Epstein need so many people answering the phone? You would not be asking random young girls to answer a phone for, like, you know, to answer a phone for, like, business opportunities. That was definitely involved in his sex trafficking stuff. Jeffrey Epstein, released from jail today, won't have an electric monitoring device during year's probation. How? Convicted sex offender Epstein, released from jail shortly after 6 a.m. Wednesday, will not be tracked by an electronic monitoring device during his one-year probation, according to a court order. Epstein served less than 13 months of his 18-month sentence. He 1 year on probation at his Brillo Way home. He already has registered as a sex offender. And yeah, young random girls would be shit at answering the phone. But right, I'm now going to read one of the heaviest documents, which is pretty rough, I will forewarn you. It's pretty graphic. Redacted asked Redacted about his time driving a limousine for 2 years in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. During Redacted's time as a driver, he had met Donald Trump. Redacted noted he picked the president up in 1995 and took him to the DFW airport. Redacted reported some of the things Trump had spoken about during the ride while on his cell phone were very concerning. Redacted reported he was a few seconds away from pulling the limousine over on the median and within a few seconds pulling him out the car and hurting him due to some of the things he was saying, as caller choose not to. Redacted noted Trump continuously stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone and made reference to abusing some girls. This is, as you can see, this is straight up in the justice.gov. And I can't wait until all the major Trump conspiracy theorists talk about this one. This is unbelievable. Redacted was unsure who he was talking to, nor who he was referencing. As Redacted talked about his time meeting Trump, Redacted immediately demeanor went stone cold. As Redacted stated, he raped me. Redacted said, what? As Redacted replied, Donald J. Trump had raped her along with Jeffrey Epstein. Redacted noted some girl with a funny name, Ghislaine Maxwell most likely, funny name, took me into a fancy hotel or building. That's how it happened. The only problem with reading all of it is I'm reading it thinking, will YouTube take away monetization? Will it just reduce the reach of this video? But at the same time, I want to read it because it's important to be clear and not to use anything else, because this is serious and it needs to be treated with its levity. Redacted advised Redacted to call the police regarding the incident, as Redacted stated, I can't, they will kill me. On Christmas Day, Redacted contacted Redacted. She had in fact called the police about what they had talked about. Redacted told Redacted she had done good. Redacted did not hear from Redacted until the 1st of the 10th, 2000. Redacted reached out to Redacted, stating Redacted was dead, and noted she was found with her head blown off in Kiefer. Okay, officers on the scene... Oh, Oklahoma, right? Officers on the scene and Redacted stated there was no way it was that she'd taken her own life. Coroner, spelled incorrectly, stated it was taking her own life. Redacted later stated Redacted committed ending their own life because Redacted had gotten cocaine from a Mexican drug cartel. Redacted feels the murder is cover for Ghislaine. The last contact with Redacted was after Redacted posted this information on Facebook a couple of weeks prior. Redacted called yelling that he had put the family in danger. Redacted explained Redacted had a third daughter named Redacted, date of birth Redacted. Oh, okay, sorry, levity. Sorry, I am misusing it. Significance, yeah. It is rough, but it is definitely rough, and as I said, yeah. No, during the report, Redacted he mentioned John Doe 2 was actually John W. Nichols, date of birth Redacted, who tried to originally set up Redacted for the bombing in Oklahoma City. Nichols worked security for Bill and Hillary Clinton, as Redacted ate a plate where Nichols worked for the security. Yeah, I mean, mentioning the Oklahoma City bombing here is crazy. What the hell? Nichols worked security for Bill and Hillary Clinton, as Redacted ate a plate ate a place where Nichols worked security at the door. Hillary walked up to Redacted, drunk, and began yelling as they asked Redacted to leave and fired Nichols, which led Nichols to attempt to set up Redacted for the bombing. Ellen, weren't you already remember? I don't know how that worked. Wait, Ellen, you became a member. How have you just become a member again, it's saying? That's strange. Yeah, I'd missed this page. I'd read the brief of this. But genuinely, the level of implication of Trump is insane. But don't worry. The Department of Justice have told us exactly what's going on. Oh, cool. The Department of Justice has officially released nearly 30,000 more pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false, and if they had a shred of credibility, they certainly would have been weaponized against President Trump already. What I'm going to say here is that doing anything, learning about anything to do with Epstein is seemingly having very serious allegations against you is meaningless when you are very rich and very powerful. Nevertheless, out of a commitment to law and transparency, the DOJ is releasing these documents with the legally required protections for Epstein's victims. Genuinely, one of the most despicable, one of the most ridiculous claims that they can make, that they are doing anything for the victims. Look at this one. Redacted, at that point I ran out of the door and figured out how to get out of there. A girl outside asked me where I was going, and she said to be careful. She said that Mr. Epstein knew a lot of powerful people, including Bill Clinton, and that if I didn't do what Mr. Epstein wanted, I would not be able to have any job in the industry. I was so scared, I couldn't wait to get out of there, and I left. I took the train home. I had spent all of my savings getting Victoria's Secret lingerie to prepare for what I thought would be an audition, but instead, it seemed like a casting call for prostitution. I felt like I was in hell. Yeah, it's right after Epstein died and right when all of a sudden a lot of victims... Like, no. It's... No one, by the way, has ever heard... Oh my god... no one has ever heard of the topic of, you know, people coming out specifically after an abuser has died. What the fuck? Apparently, the file after... Oh my god, they've redacted 3 files after the one I just read. Look. 17 to 20. So we just read 17. They've redacted up to 20. I don't know what they've redacted here. They've removed a multitude of different... Why have they removed these? Oh my god, these files, this list of files are so horrifying. Yeah, resub is definitely a better way to put it than re-membership. Look at this one as well. A taxi cab driver alerted police about Epstein's house after dropping a 15 and 17-year-old off there in 2004. On August 10th, I received intelligence report written by redacted, indicating that he had been flagged down by a taxi driver who had just dropped off two unknown white females who appeared to be approximately 15 and 17 years of age at the residence of Epstein, 358 El Barrillo Way. The taxi cab driver stated that he picked the females up in West Palm Beach, and while traveling to Epstein's residence, he overheard the females discussing how much money they would make dating in Palm Beach and possible drug use. Kids. Officer, redacted, drove by the residence and observed two vehicles in the driveway. One registered to Epstein.
It is utterly
A
ridiculous.
black Chevy, redacted. Why is that redacted? And a black Mercedes bearing redacted, which came back as no record found. I have to dip. This is just too heavy a topic for me. Thank you for covering this, and mods for the trigger warning in chat. Happy holidays all. Thank you for the $10, and I understand. This is very heavy, and, you know, for anyone who's experienced anything similar, it must be very hard. It must be very hard. But thank you for being here, and have a good rest of the holidays. Enjoy your time off if you have some. Enjoy spending time with your family if you have the privilege of doing that. But yeah, kids fleeing poverty and abusive families. No doubt, Virginia Giuffre had been trafficked already. Did you know that? Virginia Giuffre had been trafficked before she got trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein. It's so sick that this is just going on. That this was allowed to go on for unabated for so many years. That also, simultaneously, the President of the United States is having information redacted. Detective redacted would also complete a drive-by later in the evening and observe a white female enter a small red vehicle, redacted. This vehicle is registered to redacted, date of birth redacted. That doesn't need to be redacted. Why does that need to be redacted? Like, I understand redacting the officer, the lack of respect I have for the police. Why are they redacting number plates? I guess because someone would search it. Actually, redacting number plates, okay. Fine, whatever. Her own father, too. I'd forgotten about that, but yeah. No further information regarding known criminal activity obtained. However, efforts will be made to commence trash pulls from Epstein's residence in the near future. Attached is the intel report provided by Officer Redacted. Look, I also want to say, I know a lot of you have a lot of smoke for the police, but this Officer Redacted guy is prolific. He is investigating cases everywhere for decades. Wow. Officer Redacted. On November 29th, 2004, I reviewed an intelligence report completed by Officer Redacted regarding Redacted. Henry set up a bot, but I don't know if he's here. According to the report, Redacted, who is the property manager for 358 Brillo Way, which is the residence of Epstein, responded to the police station to report that a suspicious vehicle was parked in the driveway of his residence. And someone put in the chat, in the comments, I wonder if the taxi driver is still alive. Why is it showing Lookman? As in Adamola Lookman. I don't think Adamola Lookman is in any way involved with the Epstein files. Oh, wow. They've got Epstein's Austrian passport as well. Look. Marius Robert. Damn, I don't know what it says. Hold on, actually, I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up in a better form. Hold on, I just need to quickly hide. Henry, I wish Henry was here. He'd be so fucking...
It is utterly ridiculous.
He'd be so proud of what I'm up to right now. Hold on. Thank you. I hate it when it hides your name. Joel. Thank you, Joel. As horrible as this is, I do appreciate chat to have someone to experience it all with. Sometimes you have to joke through the horror of somehow, as long as it's not at the expense of the victims. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think that there is... I understand what you're saying. Like, it's nice to have, like, a chat here and, like, a community to talk about, to, like, think about these things and to kind of, you know, yeah. But, yeah, here's Epstein's passport. Marius Robert. Date of birth, 30th of July, 1954, Vienna. Manager, Dammam, Saudi Arabia. So was his passport issued in Saudi Arabia? I can't zoom. Why did he have a fake passport from this place? Why? Oh, Jesus Christ. And thank you again for the 119 Norwegian kroner. But yeah, of course, and keeping perpetrators like Epstein as the butt of the jokes is, yeah. Yeah, I know, the Department of Justice releasing something like this. Well, it's seemingly... You said it's Israel who released it, but it looks more like it was released by... It looks more like it was actually released by, you know... issued by... Not them, but actually... by Saudi Arabia. Oh my god. I hadn't seen this yet. I'd been sent it. So that's... We've already seen that. Read this. I hope you're well. This is redacted. I'm helping out with the responsiveness review of WBTW, and I've been looking through Steve Bannon's iPhone 7 on Celebrite. As I was going through the images from that phone, I found an image of Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell on Bannon's phone. I discussed with Sonny, and we wanted to flag this for you, in case it was of any importance to you, since you are on both cases. Please let me know if you'd like anything further. Why is this? This is a new photo. This is a new photo. This is a new photo. This is a photo of... This will be a photo of Ghislaine and Donald Trump that is new. This will be something that is not publicly available. That is the only reason that this would be redacted. Because were it not redacted, it would be just an old photo that Bannon had. Bannon, close friend of Epstein in 2019. This is a photo that we have not seen before of Ghislaine and Trump. What did Manuel 12ox ask? I heard I done on a previous stream. Have you checked out the Gmail? Is that the one where you can, like, look at his thing? This is probably someone involved in the investigation who hacked it. Look at this one. This is now, this is a bit more of, like, this is from the file, but yeah, seemingly from an investigator in 2021. This, look at this signature. That's Trump's signature. Look at the redaction. Why is is anything like this being redacted? Whose signature is this? Dear Your Honour, re Miss Ghislaine Maxwell bail application. I am sending this character reference in the knowledge that it will be presented to the court at Ghislaine's bail hearing. The content of this letter is the truth and within my knowledge. I first met Ghislaine, redacted. Both Ghislaine and her immediate family have been family friends for decades. Redacted. Following our first encounter, we became close friends and remained in constant touch ever since. We would always speak on her birthday, which falls on Christmas Day. Ghislaine and I would regularly socialize together and redacted, amongst many other adoring friends and family members. I was immediately drawn to Ghislaine when I first met her, and both her honesty and integrity shone through the moment we first met, and I was therefore delighted to be asked redacted. Who is this protecting? Who? We don't know 100% that this is Trump. This is based on a lot more conjecture than any of the other stuff. The signature is odd. I have definitely seen a Trump signature that looks like that. Sure, it doesn't look exactly the same as his standard signature, but why is this all redacted? Redacted adores Ghislaine, and it deeply disturbs me that a country as great as the US would ever think that Ghislaine poses a danger to children or minors, and further to this, I would have absolutely no hesitation in allowing Ghislaine to look after Redacted at any time. Do you think he's putting Baron Trump? Ghislaine is a prominent individual, and I believe she will fight these charges to the end. She will not evade justice and is not in any way a flight risk. She should be granted bail immediately, so that she can form a proper defense to these horrendous charges. She has faced monstrous allegations in the press, and forced her to have to worry about the clarity and her safety. I am not being paid or retained to provide this letter. I would, however, respectfully be prepared to offer any financial surety that I can afford in order to meet any bail pledge that the court may set. I await the court's decision and remain on standby should I be asked to fulfill any commitment. Who is this? Why is this redacted? Who is this saying that they had a close personal relationship with with Ghislaine Maxwell, convicted sex trafficker, who needs to be redacted? Who? Why? That is not protecting a victim. That is not at all in any way protecting someone who is a victim of Jeffrey Epstein. What it is instead here's someone alleging that Alan Dershowitz is involved. Wait, what is Alan Dershowitz's signature? No, it doesn't look like Dershowitz's signature at all. It looks like it could be Trump's. Tiffany was young around this time. Look at this. Just wanted to let you know I got a call on my personal cell from a writer at the New York Magazine on the Epstein case. She has interviewed redacted. The reporter asked me to verify that I was an agent and that Jason and myself traveled to Australia and interviewed redacted, and that she disclosed that she had sex with Epstein and Alan Dershowitz. They didn't know how you spell Alan Dershowitz. Could have just Googled that. I told her I was an agent, and all inquiries about the case would have to go through redacted and redacted. I gave her your email address. She said she had emailed redacted privately. Have a feeling these calls may be more frequent. Redacted can't get redacted email to pop up. Don't know if you want to forward so she's in the loop. Thanks, redact. Why is this all redacted? There's a one I really want to read here, but it's really, really faint and small. Okay, wait. I can read it. You might not be able to, so you're going to have to rely on me. It is probably Virginia. I mean, she accused Alan and then kind of went back on it probably because of the legal threat. Details. So this is another FBI document. Redacted provided the following information. Redacted met Lisa Villeneuve at a hospital where they were roommates in 2000. Villeneuve now goes by Ghislaine Lisa Villeneuve and sells real estate in Irvine, California. So this is about an Epstein party. After Redacted and Villeneuve left the hospital, they remained friends. Later that year in 2000, around Christmas time, Villeneuve invited Redacted to a party on Palm Beach Island, Florida. Redacted believes the house belongs to Epstein. Before the part Villeneuve took Redacted to meet Bobby Cox was a young man and introduced himself as a model scout. Villeneuve laughed in response to Cox's introduction and said, "No, you're a pimp." Villeneuve, Cox, and Redacted then went to the party. They entered the property through the backyard, and Villeneuve said she would go inside to speak with the hostess, which Redacted believes was Ghislaine Maxwell. When Villeneuve took Redacted inside, Villeneuve told Redacted to stay close, not to go into any of the rooms. Villeneuve took Redacted to meet a man named Curtis Schmidt, who is currently the CEO of Blue Buffalo. When Villeneuve and Redacted approached Schmidt, he asked Villeneuve if Redacted was cool. Redacted stated that she was cool. Villeneuve said no, he means cool to have sex. Schmidt said no, it meant coke. Villeneuve took Redacted back inside, and someone told the party that Donald Trump had invited them all to a party at Mar-a-Lago. Redacted told Villeneuve she wanted to go, but Villeneuve told Redacted it wasn't that kind of party. It was for prostitutes. What, is it not Villeneuve? I know I may be saying it slightly wrong, but I thought it would be Villeneuve. I don't know.
There is no...
Oh my god, listen to this. Wait, listen to this.
No credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files.
In the case file.
So many people, like Kash Patel. By the way, the fact that, like, Ben Shapiro was defending Kash Patel yesterday was insane. Like, genuinely insane that he was defending, that people were defending fucking Kash Patel when he literally blatantly lied about this. Okay, right, so here's some information about the passport. So, Hammam, Saudi Arabia, Hammam means bathhouse, was listed as the place in which the passport was issued. Okay, wait, what? A Saudi passport with this man's name, but Epstein's photo was found in Epstein's safe. The fact that Epstein just had so many passports from so many different places is odd. That he was just traveling around under false names, even with all of these powerful connections. Maybe it was a contingency plan. I don't know. Maybe that's what that was. Like, genuinely just basically trying to ensure that he was not going to be targeted. Yeah, we're one step ahead. The Marius Fortellini, who lives in Southampton, says on his website that he lived for a time in Saudi Arabia. So given his nationality, the fact that the residence on the passport is Saudi Arabia, and the fact that the age appears roughly to match up, we asked the agents to try to confirm the date of birth, but also to just reach out to Mr. Fortellini and see if he has any knowledge of why a passport would from his country with his name and former residence country might be in Jeffrey Epstein's safe and with Jeffrey Epstein's face on it. I wonder where that actually went, like what they found out about like why this guy's passport was anywhere near this. Like why his name and why he'd lived in Saudi Arabia and stuff. Was it sold? Was it sold and all of this stuff? Oh.
They're asking me.
Let's have a look at this.
Questions about Jeffrey Epstein. I thought that was finished.
It's the story he can't shake. Donald Trump was here to do what he likes doing, branding something with his name. This time, a new class of nation.
Yes, well, no, I haven't got 3 passports, Liz. I actually have 2 passports. The 2 passports I have are from Qatar and the UK. You know what I'm like. Qatar pays my salary.
Battleship. But his administration is still under fire over its handling of the Epstein files and his own relationship with the late convicted sex offender.
Everybody was friendly with this guy, either friendly or not friendly, but they, he was around. He was all over Palm Beach and other places. The head of Harvard was his best friend, Larry Summers. And Bill Clinton was a friend of his, but everybody was. I actually threw him out of Mar-a-Lago.
Trump may have cut off relations with Epstein, but that was after years of friendship.
By the way, we also know, by the way, that that this is true, that they cut off relations, that he stopped her from trafficking in Mar-a-Lago, but probably that was just to create deniability.
And in one document among thousands more released today, a note from a New York assistant attorney revealing that Trump travelled on Epstein's private jet many more times than previously has been reported. He flew at least 8 times on the plane between 1993 and 1996. On one flight there was Epstein, Trump and a 20-year-old, and on 2 other flights, 2 of the passengers were women who would be possible witnesses in the Ghislaine Maxwell case. And then there is this, a letter Epstein allegedly wrote in August 2019 from his jail cell and sent to Larry Nassar, another convicted paedophile. Epstein writes, "Our president also shares our love of young nubile girls. When a young beauty walked by, he loved to grab snatch." Today, the Department of Justice said,
I don't know. Yeah, maybe Jeffrey Epstein just really liked traveling and moving around the world. Who knows? I don't know how to feel about the fucking like alleged suicide note of Jeffrey Epstein, or like I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Kash Patel really dropped any of his morals just for a private jet flight. Yeah, Marcus, I don't think you're wrong about that. And to be near power.
Some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false.
Another document today revealed a rape allegation against Trump submitted to the FBI in October 2020. But the president has never been formally accused of any wrongdoing in relation to Epstein by law enforcement, and he's always denied he knew about Epstein's crimes. One individual who has stood accused, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, who lost his royal titles because of his friendship with Epstein. The late Virginia Roberts Giuffre, a confirmed victim of Epstein, accused Andrew of raping her 3 times, something he has always strenuously denied. But the new documents reveal that the Department of Justice in 2020 requested assistance from the UK government to compel Andrew to sit for questioning, and that there was information suggesting he had knowledge that Ghislaine Maxwell recruited females to engage in sex acts with Epstein and other men. In the latest
kind of crazy that he got away for it for so long.
Documents, emails between Maxwell and someone called the Invisible Man, who signs off AXXX. In August 2001, he writes, "I'm up here at Balmoral summer camp for the royal family." He then says, "How's LA? Have you found me some new inappropriate friends?" Maxwell replies, "I've only been able to find appropriate friends." The so-called
I really wanted that one, by the way. I wasn't able to find it. This is what
new inappropriate friends. Maxwell replies,
"Look at this. So sorry to disappoint you. However, the truth must be told. I have only been able to find appropriate friends. We will let you know about some church meetings on those dates." What the fuck?
"I've only been able to find appropriate friends." The so-called Invisible Man responds, distraught.
Distraught. You probably wouldn't know, but I lost my valet on Thursday. He died in his sleep. He had been with me since I was 2. I'm a little off balance right now. A little off balance, as not only has my office been restructured, I have left the RN, Royal Navy. Wait. It is, by the way, we all knew it's him. This can only be him. He left the Royal Navy in 2001. This email was sent in August of 2001. Wait, when did he leave? Wait. Let's find the exact date he left. Wait, when did he leave? He must have left at some point. It's him. "And now my whole life is in turmoil as I have no one to look after me. He was a real rock and almost a part of the family. If you have any good ideas as to how to get my mind back on track, I'd be grateful for advice. See you real soon. I hope if you are coming over."
While Andrew has always denied any wrongdoing and has not commented on these new documents, the new files provide yet further insight into the actions of Epstein and Maxwell. And yet many Democrats in Congress, as well as victims, have criticized the administration for the drip of files, with one Epstein survivor today calling for resignations and impeachments.
Yeah, such a whiny baby. The man who looked after him his life. Like, sure, he had a relationship with him, but just being like, no one can look after me.
I am no longer supporting this administration. I redact any support I've ever given to him, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel. I am so disgusted with this administration. I think that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel both need to resign, and I would love to see number 47 get impeached over this.
The Democrats accuse the Trump administration...
I've not seen this photo. Fucking hell, they're horrible shirts.
...administration of selectively publishing certain material, notably a tranche of photos of Bill Clinton in the initial release of documents. The former president has called for all files relating to him to be published and questioned why that had not yet happened. Trump himself had this to say about one of his predecessors.
I like Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with Bill Clinton. I've been nice to him. He's been nice to me. We've always gotten along. Respect him. I hate to see photos come out of him, but this is what the Democrats, mostly Democrats, and a couple of bad Republicans are asking for.
But Trump knows more people than that are asking for these documents. Not just Epstein's victims, but many among his MAGA base, who are now questioning the president's connection to this ongoing scandal.
Amazing. Amazing. Who is the Invisible Man? I'm sorry, wait. How are they asking who is this? You can literally discern. I just discerned categorically that it's Prince Andrew. Like, everyone knows it's Prince Andrew, by the way. But that, like, he left in 2001, the Royal Navy. I'm sure you could also find that his butler died as well at that time. Or his little driver man. Like, he just paid his way out of this. Also, once again, funniest thing in the world. Trump didn't sue him for this. All he had to do was delete it. Time to drop the really big bomb. Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, Donald J. Trump. Mark this post for the future. The truth will come out. That was such a funny day on Twitter, but simultaneously, it's so funny that he's now just gone back to, like, liking the administration. But yeah, I think that that's where we'll leave it. Hello, Tony Soprano Lover. Just as I finished, you join. Bad luck for you. Thank you guys all for watching. Thank you guys for all supporting over the last year. Thanks for all donating and supporting, and thank you just for everything. Like, I'm incredibly grateful. I'm incredibly grateful for this, how much this has grown. Also, there's one comment I finally want to read. No, Chris, you paid his way out of this 100%. Yes. We all paid his way out of this, and we all cling to a royal system that sustains and supports a pedophile. But, you know. But yeah, thank you all for coming. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day. I hope you have a lovely holidays. I'll be back soon. I'll be back before the new year, so we'll see each other for a couple of streams after Christmas and the holidays, the woke holidays. But yeah, thank you all for everything. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for watching. I'm so incredibly grateful. And yeah, enjoy a lovely time, and I'll see you guys soon. And thanks to all the mods as well. Thank you for all watching and being here and helping to moderate the chat. Thank you for all of your commentary and just watching. Like, I really appreciate all of this, and I love that this is a viable thing that I get to do, and I get to talk about things that really interest me. But thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of the day, and I'll see you guys after Christmas.